Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining me here on this group audition for Farmer's Bounty. We're going to be running it just one line over and over again. And the line is, of course, fresh creamery butter. So let's start with Helen. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to read for the part of man in advert.
That's how he's credited.
Fresh creamery butter.
Oh, I like that. Jen?
Yes. Very excited to be here, can I just say. Do you want the line now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Fresh creamery butter.
Oh, that's got a certain whiff to it.
That's
got the whiff of success.
It's got the whiff of margarine.
Becs.
I just like a little bit of more information on my motivations for saying fresh creamery butter.
Okay, so you are a aspiring actor and you want a part. You want a part and it's gotten so bad, literally you will consider doing an advert for butter.
Okay, I've got you.
Yeah.
Out, damn fresh creamery butter. Is that good?
I like it. It's intense. It's everything that today is. Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sara. I'll be reading for the part of aristocrat inexplicably eating butter. Fresh creamery butter.
Ooh. Tell you what, let's have Becs again.
Out, damn fresh creamery butter.
Jen.
Fresh creamery butter.
Sara and Helen.
Fresh
Creamery butter. Butter.
Helen and Jen.
Butter.
Butter. Helen and Jen.
Fresh creamery
butter.
Becs and Helen.
Out,
Fresh
damn
creamery
fresh creamery butter.
Helen and Helen.
Fresh creamery butter.
Yes, Jen, but in an accent not your own.
Fresh creamery butter.
Wonderful. Sara, but can I get it angry? Can I get it angry?
Fresh creamery butter.
Like that. Becs, scared?
Out, damn fresh creamery butter.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there. Helen, sexy.
Fresh creamery butter.
Jen, sexy?
Fresh creamery butter.
Fresh creamery butter. Sara, can I get it like you're calling a dog, but the dog is called fresh creamery butter?
Fresh creamery butter. Fresh creamery butter.
Becs, can I get it that you're like a call operator and the company is called Fresh Creamery Butter?
Fresh creamery butter, how can I help you?
That was fucking uncanny. I genuinely thought the machine had started talking to me.
I have to record phone messages everywhere I work.
Helen, can I get it like you're dying and Fresh Creamery Butter is the clue that Tom Hanks needs to figure out who killed you? And sexy.
Sexy.
Fresh creamery butter.
Oh, that was both sexy and fatal. Brilliant. Sara, I guess, can I get that your old crime partner has just come in and you know that they want you to recruit you for a job, but the last job ended with you going to jail for 3 months and their name is Fresh Creamery Butter, but also sexy.
Fresh creamery butter.
Jen, sad?
Fresh creamery butter.
Helen, sexy?
Oh, wow.
Fucking hell, all right.
She's married, Paul.
I mistyped it. I was meant to at this stage call on the only person I hadn't asked to do it sexy, but I realised Helen's actually the first person.
I'm the only person who's I think Sarah did it sexy.
You had it too
Sexy.
Fuck's sake. When you're ready.
I can't even right now. Fresh creamery butter.
Oh, my loins.
Let's do it as Sean Bean. He's quite sexy.
You're not wrong.
That's my Sean Bean. It's not very good.
Becs confused?
Fresh creamery butter?
Jen even sadder, like really sad.
Fresh creamery butter.
Oh,
Intensity.
Restrained.
Thank you.
like Tilda Swinton.
Naturalistic.
Yes.
Anyone I haven't already asked to do it sexy?
Fresh creamery butter.
Oh, I would.
Oh, yes, please.
Put me a slice of that fresh creamery butter. Sorry.
And Sarah, as if you were segueing into the start of a podcast.
Fresh creamery butter.
And theme! Best intro we ever did.
Unhinged.
Jesus Christ.
Completely bananas.
Holy shit.
Hello and welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that is sorry if it has offended you in any way. I'm Paul Leopold, and I am joined by all of the wonderful podcast Roll Plus Heart. Please all introduce yourselves in a very natural order, starting now.
Hi, I'm Becs Watson.
Hi, I'm Jen Blundell.
Hi, I'm Sara Keep.
And I'm Helen Gaffney.
Fucking flawless.
It's because we know our order.
We got this shit on lock.
For the most part.
These are professionals, people. None of that weird bumbly shit that me and Goodman have where we forget which one I am.
It's hard. It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, you can't always
Your parents
remember.
really should have coordinated on first names.
Yeah.
So we're what are we playing today? Kids on Bikes?
We are playing the 2001 American romantic comedy fantasy film Kate and Leopold.
Ooh.
In 1876, Leopold, Duke of Albany, was a bachelor
Take a wife.
with few prospects. In 2001,
I still don't have the data. I can't do analysis unless you give me numbers.
Kate McKay has a successful career
You're a rarity among women, Kate. You're like a man.
and no life. But now,
Are you sitting down?
Yes.
it's time for a change.
I've found it. Something that validates my entire life.
Life's work. A portal into 1876. I followed the Duke of Albany around old New York.
The Duke.
Yes. Here's the kicker.
The kicker.
He followed me home. Where am I? You're still in New York. That, sir, is not New York!
I'm afraid it is. So you must be Sergeant Pepper? I have to confess, he's handsome, courteous.
Meg Ryan,
I'm not very good with men.
Hugh Jackman,
You still don't believe I'm the man I say I am.
in a story of a man and a woman
You have to go back.
Don't you think it's time you tell me who you are? I am the man who loves your sister.
Say that again.
who refuse to let a few centuries come between them.
I want more of this. More 1876.
Kate and Leopold. Rated PG-13.
Kate and Leopold, Kate and Leopold, Kate and Leopold.
It's gonna be tricky because there's only 3 classes: Kate, Leopold, or Lee Schreiber.
Don't be putting Breckenmeyer on the sidelines.
Natasha Lyonne.
Nobody puts Breckenmeyer in a corner.
I know, I was thinking Natasha Lyonne, excuse you. And also Kristen Schaal. I'm sorry.
Viola Davis,
Oh
briefly
my
at
God.
one point.
Sorry. It's
Well, spoiler alert for my notes.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody talk more about that or think about it any further. The film comes care of James Mangold.
Man
Yes,
Gold.
it's a wonderful rom-com director name.
Sounds like a porn
Should've
star
started.
name, doesn't it?
sounds like a
That's rather-
butter.
This is rather unusual for him because after breaking out with Copland, the truth isn't a bulletproof vest, Tony.
Is that what that's from?
That's what that's from. That was James Mangold's second and big sort of breakout film.
Jeez.
His third was Girl Interrupted.
Oh, yeah.
With the what was that now? That was Winona Ryder.
Angelina Jolie?
Yep, that sounds about right. I'll go with that.
Dunno.
I'm willing to put my name to that. 100%. That's a Paul guarantee. After Kate and Leopold, he of course went on to make, well, not of course, he made more things that you didn't realise were directed by the guy who did Logan. Identity, the John Cusack horror film.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck.
Walk the Line, the
Okay.
biopic about...
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Yep. You
I'll walk the
pipped me to the
line.
post. I'll walk the line.
Walk the line.
Hi, Homer. Find your soulmate. You see, I know Johnny Cash. He also did the 3:10 to Yuma remake, Night and
Oh,
Day,
damn.
with Cameron Diaz
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Shit. He's
Wow.
done a lot.
He did. Wait,
He has.
he's
He did a
so.
lot.
He just picks a different genre every time.
He doesn't
Like
give a
horror,
fuck.
No rom-com, no western.
He
Like,
does not
what?
give
Yeah.
a fuck.
No.
That's Mangold.
And then it was
Mangold.
The Wolverine,
Wow.
and then, of
What?
course, more famously, Logan, Ford vs. Ferrari, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
What is
Can't all
happening?
Be winners. He's currently down to direct Swamp Thing, the movie, and an untitled Star Wars film. So, look, he's the greatest
gonna be a
auteur you never
banger.
knew.
He's clearly very discerning at the stories he tells.
Yeah,
And cares a lot
clearly.
about them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And shouldn't be allowed to do any more western remakes. I'm just saying.
When I saw his name in the credits, my first thought was, it's a different James Mangold. The thought that the same director did this and Logan did not immediately cross my mind.
It's Francis Ford Coppola Jack syndrome. That can't be the same Francis Ford Coppola who directed the movie about Robin Williams aging backwards and The Godfather.
Wow. Yeah.
People have range.
Similar epics. People have range, people are multitudes, and that is more apparent with James Mangold than with the screenwriter Stephen Rogers, Captain America himself.
I did
who
think that.
wrote, he wrote Hope Floats, Stepmom, Kate and Leopold, P.S. I Love You and Love the Coopers.
Oh,
so,
wonder.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
checks out.
Sometimes just know your niche. Know what you're good at.
No shame in that.
He
No harm, no foul.
did his greatest success though was writing I, Tonya, the Margot Robbie
yeah.
sort of for which he was nominated for BAFTA and Writers Guild of America. I was kind of hoping that would be Oscar. I'm sure he was too, but never mind. Now now this is where my lack of notes sometimes slip me up. Let me think of another quote. Critics, on the other hand, thought that they were intoxicated and should retire.
They didn't think this was the greatest erection in history.
Oh, shit, that would have been good.
No.
Well, maybe for the public. Let's see which one I settle upon. Kim Robinson, writing for Sighting Sound.
That famous publication.
Sighting Sound, in April 2002 said, even Jane Austen-loving Bridget Jones never quite went so far as to suggest things would be better for hopeless and love career girls if they could just get back to the carefree days of the 19th century. Well,
Facts.
I guess that's case closed for Sight and Sound. Retrograde claptrap, eh? Nothing to linger in the mind, just another disposable Romula-Comula. May 2002.
Ooh.
Article by Charlotte O'Sullivan on corporate chic in the film The Business of Strangers. As in What Women Want, we see here a female executive who gets kicked up the ladder, realizes it's an empty victory, but carries on anyway. Compare this with the more recent Kate and Leopold, where a female executive gets kicked up the ladder, realizes it's an empty victory, and throws herself, literally, into the romantic past. Corporate culture is clearly not for everyone. That's good shit, Charlotte O'Sullivan.
Thanks, Charlotte.
There you go.
That's good stuff.
July 2002. Famed critic and graphic novelist Kim Newman writes in his review of Simon Wells' The Time Machine, no relation? I very much doubt it. Linking an opening out of Kate and Leopold with the meat of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes and a subterranean finale that suggests nothing so much as the Goonies.
What?
Yeah.
Were they having a stroke when they wrote this?
In that very same issue. July 2002. Erin Gill, in her review of Kissing Jessica Stein. The romantic comedy is one of the most conservative of Hollywood genres, with many recent examples seeming to trade in the nostalgic appeal of more innocent times. Kate and Leopold, for instance, the very first example cited.
Cultural
It's a
touchstone.
conspiracy.
Kate and
really
Leopold.
gripped people's
It's a
imaginations over
conspiracy.
at Sight and Sound.
July 2004. Kim Newman, again, in his review of Van Helsing.
Big fan of Kate and Leopold.
This Van Helsing does nothing for Jackman's post-Wolverine career. Oh, poor summer child.
There's no such thing.
While he was better in a Victorian good guy in Kate and Leopold.
Yes.
February 2006, Mark Kermode. March 2017, 1 page in to a prestige feature about Viola Davis, notes that she won particular notice for her performances in Kate and Leopold. First one.
Did she?
Given.
It was.
Oh, was she the? Was she
I
the
don't think
cop?
so.
Yeah, she was the
two
police
lines
officer. Yeah.
as the police officer that gives him a ticket.
Stop it.
Notice. Particular notice. I put it to you that the critics of Sight and Sound still hold Kate and Leopold close to their hearts to this very day.
Yeah.
That, Paul, that's a master's thesis. So if you're still struggling for a topic.
Oh, God. I don't have a public opinion, but let's get to it. Dang it, I'm too excited. Let me get those scores for you. I didn't even check 3-man. I'm so damn excited about getting to this thing. Kate and Leopold has 6.4 on IMDb, 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 82% on Google.
My God.
Google.
Absolute.
Them Google users, they'll love
Mavericks.
anything.
Yeah, they will.
Google users. But in this case, they're entirely correct. So, Sarah, Jen, Becs, and Helen, you're tucking me in. Sorry, first quote I saw.
I am.
We are, with our massive erections.
Oh, Jennifer.
Such
It's
a
a miracle.
Today. Such
It's
a flirt.
a miracle.
That erection is certainly a miracle. Tell me, how did this start? I can't remember. Who first suggested Kate and Leopold? It was
think it was
Helen.
Helen.
I did it. It was my fault. I'm sorry.
Helen, yeah. I think me and Helen had referenced it recently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
in one of our recordings, or at least when we were
it
hanging
was,
out.
Yeah, I think it was during like the mid part of a recording. Do you know what I mean? We were just chatting, and I was shocked that we had both watched this fairly obscure fucking 2000s rom-com.
Cultural touchstone.
Cultural touchstone.
That's the one.
And and then Jen was like, "Oh, I've also seen," and it was like, "Okay, well that seems odd." And then I was like, "Well, it seems weird not to do this on a recording."
Yeah, I think I remember walking to the station with you, Jen, and mentioning, I think, that Helen wanted to do Kate and Leopold.
Yes, that was it.
And you were like, "Oh, I'll come in for that," or something like just
Yeah.
and then it became just me not to invite Sarah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was also
You guys-
we wanted to make Sarah suffer.
Well, you guys were talking about it while I was there, and then just sort of turned to me and were like, "Oh, do you also want to come?"
I think the thing
I
is,
hate
Sarah,
being
is that you're the person out of all of us that I just think is better than this.
Yeah, I think you have more exquisite taste than any of us. So
That's
like,
very
Hey.
kind and deeply incorrect.
We are all cinematic trash bags. Now,
No.
I've got very few notes on the plot because I'm basically going to treat this
Sarah's
as-
got it
as like-
covered.
pulling a pin out of a grenade and running out of the room. But please, all of you tell me what happens in Kate and Leopold.
oh, Jesus.
Okay, we'll all just talk at once for the next hour. So,
Right. So,
Open on.
massive
New
erection,
York.
falling in love, jumps off a bridge.
time travel.
Sorted.
I feel like
Time
your summary is quite disjointed, Jen, and is probably doing the
Yeah,
audience no favors.
I'm not convinced you're telling anyone anything.
Well,
here.
yeah, as
You just
I
said
don't know, I
erection.
feel I've seen the film.
as previously mentioned to you guys, but listeners may not know this, as kind of a bit, I watched it in VR.
Yes.
Because you can do that. You can have a big cinema screen on your
You can
VR
do
headset and sit back and watch it. That made it very difficult to take notes. So,
Sarah's got extensive notes, and I think I could help.
Yes, I remember the film quite well, but I will say my notes are terrible in that they'll say stuff like, "I'm glad Liev Schreiber also laughed at the erection joke," and "What is this Danny Elfman-esque boom boop music?"
those are important
all
points.
I need. Meanwhile, I'll just be interjecting with the occasional observation. Here's the first. Some names I'm very excited to see in the credits. Some I'm definitely not.
Yes,
Care-
I know.
Care to,
So-
Let's just say it's a Miramax production.
I must have looked away from the screen.
Oh,
Nah, I
As
noticed
as soon as
it.
credits
noticed
happen,
it.
I just turn off. I'm bored immediately. I'm like, nope.
But
No, these opening credits.
I
Is that what you're saying, Helen? You turned off.
Yeah,
then?
immediately.
I
Not for
I was
me,
out.
Not for me.
Gone.
Opening credits.
I hadn't looked up the cast, so I was also super excited when I saw names like Liv Schreiber, Natasha Lyonne,
Yeah.
and Bradley Whitford.
Oh, fuck yeah, Bradley Whitford's here, everyone.
Yeah.
We are in New York in the past. Hugh Jackman's there, and he's playing a nobleman who is a duke or something.
You speak of progress and invention, yet what I offer you downstairs is reality. Take a wife, marry.
Marriage is the promise of eternal love. As a man of honor, I cannot promise eternally what I've never felt momentarily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Duke or something.
He's a Mountbatten.
And then Mr. Roebling has just unveiled his new bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. And he's got a
Incredible
fantastic
erection.
beard. He speaks about his erection at length.
Yes.
There is a
Like-
joke.
It's a very it's a joke, and I wasn't sure it was a joke at first until Liev Schreiber turns up and starts giggling. I'm like, hey,
Hey, it's Lee Schreiber.
It's the audience
Lee Schreiber
touchstone.
doing here?
The man who's laughing at erection jokes.
Yes.
I can already tell he's relatable.
but
Yeah.
much like us, Hugh Jackman also thinks, "What's Liev Schreiber doing here?" Because he's
Yeah.
got a weird little camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Immediately suspicious and clearly very futuristic tech for the time. Then Hugh follows him for a bit, and then he's like, "Oh, I've lost him. Well, that's life. I best go to this big ass party now."
Yes.
Yeah.
A
Where-
big ass
where-
party.
where I must big ass party where I must select a bride.
Yes.
Yes, dangerous.
Yes.
Oh.
Go on.
Jean Giroux.
I immediately decide that he's not a relatable protagonist because he meets a woman who's not incredibly beautiful and is like physically disgusted and is like, oh, love can't exist.
It's Kristen
Yeah.
Schaal.
Kristen
Schaal.
Schaal.
Like, is that
He's
the
like-
joke?
He should be so fucking lucky, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
But I do like the fact that Kristen Schaal would have shown up to set that day, and the producers would have been, okay, we need you to be just irredeemably awkward. She'll have just been like, got it.
I can do that.
And then in one reaction shot, she fucking nails it.
yeah, she does.
She's
very
a
good.
consummate professional at being awkward.
Yeah.
She's very good. The fact that she's framed as supposed to be like super unattractive. And,
Yeah, I know.
And
It's
Hugh
too
Jackman
fantasy.
immediately gives his butler a look that is like, I'd rather die than marry this woman. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks.
You want to get in the trees of Schenectady, the awkward on the streets, but something in the sheets. I don't know.
Shame on you, huge
Hugh
Jackman.
Jackman. Now, in previous OGT appearances, I've heralded the acting ability of West Wing alum, and you'd probably be thinking I'd do that for Bradley Whitford, but you're wrong. I am here to talk about Paxton Whitehead, who played
Paxton Whitehead.
who played Uncle Millard, and was
That was pretty good.
and was a British diplomat in 2 episodes of The West Wing.
No, not the British diplomat. Lord
I
Molesbury.
believe so.
Fucking hell, really? Oh my god, he's
Mind
great.
blown.
I didn't recognize him.
Unless it
Wow.
He knows what he's
wasn't.
doing.
I'm saying it is.
Yes, unless no.
But he was
didn't
in
he have some,
The
like,
West Wing.
Mighty
and
sideburns in this film.
He
Yeah.
did have
I feel like-
incredible
yeah.
sideburns.
Stunning
So I think
18th
it's fair
century,
not to recognise
19th
him.
century sideburns. I always get that wrong. So what had happened was, he then, after having a little dance, he then sees your man with his camera. Oh no, he finds him in his room upstairs first, doesn't he?
Yeah, he chases.
Yeah.
No, he
No,
sees
he
him taking
sees
a
him
little
with the
cheeky
camera.
picture and then
Yeah.
chases him up the stairs.
Chase him
Where he's
upstairs,
looking in books.
shuffle him through some papers, and then he runs away, your man, and Hugh Jackman runs after him, and they end up on a bridge.
The
And-
bridge.
The
Not
bridge.
just
The
any
bridge.
bridge.
It's
The bridge.
It's Roebling's
The erection. Yeah.
And they, in a turn of events, they fall off into a wormhole, not a wormhole. But,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
it's okay because that was Liev Schreiber's plan all along.
That's what he wanted to
Yeah.
do. So
Oh,
it's all
shit.
good.
But you get no context as to what would happen when they come through the other side. So it's like they're just
No, you
there.
don't
Do they hit
like,
the water? Like,
yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going on?
You don't see where they come out. You just find them.
They can't afford that. James Mangold can't afford that.
They cut
Did
back to
Liev
them.
Schreiber tie up a little dinghy underneath the spot? Like, what's going on?
Yes.
Well, speaking of
That's amazing.
speaking of James
Dinghies.
Mangold,
Oh, dear God.
the film then cuts to a
Uh-huh.
film screening, a film testing.
Oh, does it?
where-
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
It does,
where
it does.
the film executives are being very critical, and I wanted my note basically said, ask Paul how he feels about these movie execs and their tests.
Well, I love the fact that they've gone like, okay, we need the guys who are doing the screen tests to be terrible,
yes.
to be really bad at it.
we need-
And so they've gone down the sociopath route for these two guys. Fresh creamery butter!
Yeah, I
Full-on
was really
deranged.
enjoying the Bond villain
The
read,
German guy,
where I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, what the
I
fuck?
can't
So
wait
good.
to buy butter off this man and find out if it's the 1 in 10 that he's made with strychnine.
Yeah. Why not?
Fresh creamery butter. Is there anything more comforting?
I just love the idea that the execs would turn to Meg Ryan and go,
Huh? What do you think about them? What about that, though? They're good, aren't they? We
That's
like
not. We've skipped ahead. This is the film testing bit.
Yes, we have.
shit.
With
I don't remember that.
well, this
I
was
just
when
watched it and I don't remember a film
this is
screening.
when
All right.
James Mangold made a cameo as the belligerent
Oh,
director who was like,
Love
"You're
that.
destroying my art." And it's like, huh?
What? I think you might have had an extra
Yeah, I
scene.
think
Yeah,
have an
did you have
extra
the
scene,
extended
Sarah.
cut?
Look, I want to say something. I think Julie is likable, very likable in this picture, and real. What? Excuse me. You've never made a mistake in your life. You have no flaws. You've never slept with the wrong guy.
I'm not the protagonist in a major motion picture.
Let me tell you something. You people with your tests, you are sucking the life out of American cinema. Shh, Richard, come on. It's a comedy, but it's also a drama. It can be about something.
I'm remembering Meg Ryan being at home now.
Yeah.
Did you watch the extended cut of Kate and Leopold?
I guess I did.
You know why you've got so many notes?
Or did you watch the behind the scenes by mistake and that actually was just main
That was a
Mangold?
documentary, Sarah.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm gonna cry.
so there's a
You're
deleted
destroying
scene.
my movie, Meg Ryan.
There's a deleted scene that introduces Natasha Lyonne and Meg Ryan in a cinema as a film is getting tested, and there's executives that are like, "Oh,
No, it's not.
it's too long. The love isn't
The
believable."
director's cut is 4 minutes longer and also includes 7 deleted scenes.
And
Oh, I'm looking
Ja-
forward to coming up to those deleted scenes as we go on.
James Mangold makes a cameo as a director who's really angry that the execs are trying to destroy his artwork. So,
That's beautiful.
That's stunning.
so, and then
He knows, he knows.
it's even funnier that for the theatrical release, the execs just cut that bit out.
He cut himself. Kill your darlings, people. You can't be precious about this sort of thing. Bloody hell.
So that's
my
interesting.
God.
Anyway.
So we
So,
skip ahead
Le-
to
yes.
Meg Ryan now at home.
And she hears
With an incredible haircut. Just
Oh,
Fuck yeah. Oh my
Meg
god.
I
Ryan
hate that
hair.
haircut. I hate it.
What?
It's
You would not
so
have survived the
blunt.
early noughties.
I was in the. I did survive the early noughties.
the chunkiest highlights and layers that
Oh,
have no blending whatsoever.
I loved
To
it.
be fair, I was a little emo kid in the early noughties.
It's
so
like,
that might
you
have
know,
been-
when you see early models of like Pixar characters and they've got their hair shaped out into strands and they're just long
Yeah.
flat bits. It's like that.
Yeah, it's exactly like
I
that.
know, perfect.
The ideal haircut.
Look, I desperately need water, but for the love of God, don't stop. Keep going.
Okay. Sure, it's
So-
our podcast now.
Yeah, she sees your man, time travel dude, with the Duke,
Leave.
and
leave
she's
Shrine.
kind of
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she's kind of just he's in a position at which it looks like it's sexual somehow.
Yes.
And
And
that's
then
all I
yeah.
recall.
that's when we learn that Liev Schreiber and Meg Ryan used to date, which will have
They did.
uncomfortable implications later in the film.
Only for you, because I read about this. Only for you. It's not in the actual film, but I'm excited to
What
hear
is
you
it?
tell me
No,
others about
there
this
are
'cause it's
uncomfortable
insane.
implications.
No, but yeah,
What happened?
I don't know either. I watched
No.
this 2 days ago and I've already
Because
forgotten.
at Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get
guess.
to it. We'll
there.
get to it.
We'll get to it. It's fine.
We'll
Don't
all
worry
discover
about it.
together.
But yeah, they're exes basically, aren't they?
Yes.
They're exes,
Mhm.
but only of like a
Okay.
month ago.
Leave has a really killer line because they start having a fight over the phone. And Meg Ryan says,
I blew my best years on you.
Those were your best.
Yeah.
So brutal.
Fucking brutal.
Devastating.
I felt devastated, and it wasn't directed at me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we take away from it all is that Meg Ryan is a career woman. She is
Yes.
focused.
Ugh.
She is ready to get it. Whereas Liev Schreiber,
Miserable.
he's an
Deeply
idiot.
unhappy.
He's head
And
in the
he's-
clouds. He never got anything done. They were horribly suited, clearly.
Yes.
And he's obsessed with his theory
And
about
he's
time travel.
obsessed with time travel and the inventor of the elevator.
which
This Duke, as it turns out.
Some spoilers. He didn't invent the
He
elevator.
didn't invent the
He
elevator.
did not.
No, he
See,
didn't.
here's the thing: is that I find it very funny that. I just find it very funny. Like Archimedes was making elevators in 336 BC. Like, what the fuck do you
Was he?
want? At some point,
Also-
someone had the idea to close them off and maybe add a safety feature so that
Yeah.
the pulley wouldn't snap. But like,
Okay,
still,
so wait,
that
is this
still
a
wasn't
real
him.
world?
Yes.
Is this a real world thing, or is this within the logic of the movie?
No.
it's
No.
revealed
Well,
No,
he didn't
in the
invent
real
it?
world, the
We
man
were
that
very
invented
intrigued by
Yeah.
this film.
the elevator
Okay.
He was called
was
Otis.
Fair enough.
Alicia Graves
But-
Otis.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there a moment in the movie though, and it goes by so quickly?
Where she
and I
looks
could
at the
have
word
sworn-
Otis. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
all
right
that.
at the end.
And his footman is
That's
called
what-
Otis for
yeah,
some
his
reason.
butler's
Yes.
called Otis. Yeah.
Fuck me. No.
None
Isn't
of
there a
those.
bit where there is a news report going, and you just vaguely hear that elevators
Yes.
are mysteriously failing
Yes,
all around you?
because-
What was that?
Because he's travelled in time, there's a paradox that he hasn't invented the elevator in
But I
deeply
thought that was
sarcastic
gonna be a
air
big
quotes,
deal.
which means that all of the elevators have stopped working. Which,
But-
next plot point, Liev Schreiber falls down an elevator shaft because
Yes.
there's no
And-
elevator in it.
and honest to God, thought they'd killed him.
didn't even
I thought this film had just taken an incredibly brutal turn and Liv Schreiber had fallen to his death.
Oh god.
No, see, if you look carefully, you can see that for some reason that there's a load of trash piled up at the bottom. Like,
Oh, is
the
there?
elevator shaft seems to also be
That's
where
that's
the
New
rubbish
York.
goes.
That's just New
just
York.
New
Yeah, that's
York.
just how New York
Yeah.
works.
Which seems wild because, like, what if you put garbage in the chute and the lift is below it? Then there's just garbage on top of the lift.
I think the implication is just that as soon as
Gives a
New
fuck.
Yorkers see an empty
They
shaft or
just
something,
throw
they're throwing
trash
rubbish
in there.
down.
Yeah. Yep.
My erection. So
So Liev Schreiber gets sent to hospital because all
Yes.
of his
yes,
everything
yes.
is
for the
broken.
rest of the movie, more or less.
But
And Hugh is left alone with the
Until-
dog.
Yeah, he is.
until
And he's
Meg
pretty
Ryan
chill.
needs her Palm Pilot back.
Yes.
Whatever
Very important.
Hey, I lent you my Palm Pilot.
Who lends someone
Why
a
did you
Palm
do
Pilot?
that,
What
Meg?
for?
What even is one? Who knows?
Wait, is that the thing he was using to take pictures with?
No, that's not a Palm
Couldn't
Pilot.
be.
No, that's not sophisticated
know that?
enough.
No,
Okay.
it didn't have pictures involved in the Palm Pilot.
A Palm Pilot is like, it's the size of your hand.
Yes.
I think I had something similar. It was like an early like. screen
Yeah.
like,
My dad had
tap
one, and
back.
I thought it was so
Yeah.
fancy.
My
Truly
dad
no
gave
idea
me
what this
one,
is.
and it made me extremely popular for like a week.
Well, that's why Meg
a
Ryan
high.
wants hers back.
Yeah, what to impress people.
Well, so
Oh,
she gets
God.
a Palm Pilot, and she's
Yeah.
asking about the stylus, and she finds the stylus, and she takes
The
Hugh
pencil
Jackman outside
thingy.
and is like,
Yeah, the pointy thingy.
the dog is just out here, because, Liev Schreiber has a dog. And she's like, take the dog
In
for
a
a
very
walk,
unsuitable
you
apartment
lazy
for the
dick.
dog.
Yeah, no, not a good apartment
Yeah.
for that dog. But
Hey, stranger, staying with my ex. Walk
walk
this
this
fucking
dog,
dog.
you bitch. So she takes him outside, and he's stunned by the outside world.
He has a facial expression to make a few hundred
At
times.
this point, we really do have to point out Meg Ryan's tiny sunglasses.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a fucking
Her
look,
fucking-
okay?
Matrix
Her
style.
Bram
fucking
Stoker's
bullshit.
Dracula. I went Bram Stoker's Dracula
Oh.
for tiny glasses.
I wish you
Just
could still wear those
incredible.
without looking like a dickhead.
Helen, there's nothing fucking stopping you. I'd love it if you did.
Yeah.
I've got sunglasses, but I just don't have the tiny ones.
Well, let's get you some tiny ones.
I sent my friend Kat a picture of Meg Ryan in her leather jacket, sort of pointy hair and sunglasses, and said, "What do you call this fit?" And she just said back, "The Matrix."
Yeah.
I call it fuckable.
Yeah, it
An
is quite
unknown
fuckable,
piece of
to be
Hollywood
fair.
truism is that Keanu Reeves could actually play any role that Meg Ryan did, and vice versa.
Yeah, that checks out.
Facts.
Yeah.
This is not complex. He gave me the Palm Pilot, but he forgot the pointy thing.
I've been warned about you.
Oh, really? And what, pray tell, did the Great Disappointment say?
That you were dangerous, though you hardly look it.
Really?
A lady in trousers isn't dangerous, merely plain. I take it you're a career woman.
Yeah, market research.
Fine avocation for women research. Perfect for the feminine mind.
Huh. You're a trip, woman.
So, we
Text
end
it.
up at the office with... I think so, right? That's the next scene,
Yes.
is it?
Yeah.
We end up at the office with Meg Ryan, and Meg Ryan's like,
Yeah.
Natasha Lyonne, why the fuck didn't you tell me that this big important boss came round? And then big important boss turns up at the door, and she's like,
And
oh,
who is it?
Bradley Whitford.
Bradley Whitford, another
There you
West
go.
Wing alum.
Bradley Whitford. Oh my god, he's so pretty. Even the douchebags in this are so pretty.
Yeah.
So charming.
And he's like,
Yeah.
let's have a meeting, something. And so she has a meeting.
That's like me at work.
It's implied that
Let's have
there
a meeting,
is
something,
there's a
something,
senior VP position
Yeah.
that's opened up, and she thinks she might be a shoo-in, but he's dancing around it. He's not confirming one way or the other. So that's a big
he's-
focus of her career
And he's
stuff.
sexually harassing her.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Almost constantly.
This lady needs some protecting. If
Wow.
only there was someone
To protect.
chivalrous about.
Yeah, so he does like a not like you're not like the other girls conversation, and it's very distressing. And I
She
blanked out
skews
for a second there.
masculine, and she doesn't do pretty.
You're a rarity among women, Kate.
I'm sorry.
You don't cling to illusion. You don't get caught up in emotion. You don't do pretty.
I don't.
You skew male. You're like a man. A man who understands women, their desires, their needs. You understand them, but you're not really one of them.
Was he negging
Doesn't do
her?
pretty.
What
Meg
was
Ryan,
that?
though.
Yes, maybe.
Meg Ryan doesn't skew pretty. Fuck
Yeah.
off.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't
He
believe
said
it.
to her
Most
face,
un-
"You don't do pretty," and I was like, "Oh, he's blind."
I came right out of the film at that point because I was like, I believe all this time travel stuff. That's fine.
No, what you don't
Meg
understand
Ryan
is
not pretty. Excuse you.
she wears trousers
Oh,
So
yeah.
she's
and
skews masculine.
shirts.
Yeah. No, you're
And-
right. You're right.
So there you go. She does have that hair.
I saw your movie In the Cut. I really respect the way that you're entirely unfeminine. Fucking problems of the times. Man.
I think I got a bit lax on my notes at this point, so I cannot remember what the next scene is.
So,
I mean, my
brother
next
comes
thing
home,
is about Meg Ryan's cooking, so I'm a ways
in
out.
the
I'm just waiting
meantime,
patiently.
Hugh's still out on the street marveling at modern-day New York. This is where we meet Viola Davis's memorable cop.
Oscar nominated.
So memorable.
Are you going to remove that?
I beg your pardon?
Pick it up and put it in the trash.
Absolutely not.
Maybe you don't understand. It's against the law to leave it there.
Are you suggesting, madam, there exists a law compelling gentlemen to lay hold of canine bowel movements?
I'm suggesting you pick the poop up and throw it away now.
I refuse. Respectfully.
Young Viola Davis. But then he gets back to the apartment and there is a child there.
Yes.
What?
Oh yeah,
Ew.
you're right. There is.
And
a
this
random
child
we
is
never hear from
never
again.
explained,
Yeah.
or we never see him again.
He's
There's
just like. He's just like,
He's one of
oh,
them
my mum
neighborhood
works
kids."
late on Wednesdays, so I come and hang out in this guy's apartment. And I'm like, ooh.
New York.
2000s in New York. Lovely.
In my head, I was like, well, this child's going to be important to the plot, or the mum is going to be important to the plot. No, never see him again.
No,
But-
actually, he's very important because he will establish. It's through him that we're able to establish that Hugh Jackman loves musical theatre. Hugh Jackman's character
Yes.
loves musical
Yes.
theatre.
That's true. That's facts.
And also Hugh Jackman.
And also Hugh Jackman, famously.
Yeah, he is important. He will grow into Bradley Whitford, time travel. Oh, God. Is it at this point that the other guy shows up?
The brother.
Meg Ryan's brother.
Who's an actor.
Meyer.
And he turns up while Hugh Jackman's doing a lovely show of Pirates of Penzance, I'm guessing, is that what it was?
Yes.
Pirates of Penzance for the small child, and he's like, this man is an actor, clearly. I can see my friend.
Actor recognizes actor.
Actor recognizes actor. And he's like, you're an actor. I'm an actor. Let's be buddies.
Come to my sister's house for dinner. I have not asked her about this.
Nigh
but you're welcome.
You're really method. That will allow me to be on board with your whole premise without being incredulous for the next 2 hours.
Which is, we should say, being incredibly 19th century Duke, like...
Oh yes,
charming as hell.
Oh, don't worry.
Charming.
I'll have sampled the shit out of Hugh Jackman by this
so
point.
we'll all know.
Just all know what he's up to.
And Meg Ryan's just like, sure,
She's
mate.
like, whatever, buddy.
Whatever, friend.
I'm walking here.
Where I come from, the meal is the result of reflection and study. Menus are prepared in advance, timed to perfection. It is said without the culinary arts, the crudeness of reality would be unbearable.
And it is at this point, though, that he does have a few words to say about her culinary ability, and just for a moment, the taste of things is invoked in my imagination, and I'm able to truly enjoy that little moment. But also, it helps me overlook the fact that he's basically just saying, "You don't cook very good, love."
Shit.
To be fair, doesn't look like she does.
Yeah, I mean,
fair
it was
play.
tater tots and like some kind of burned to shit cutlet.
Yeah.
Look, she works. That's all I prepare for myself.
It's better than what I prepare for myself, so I have no leg to stand on.
I'm married to a chef.
What? I like bread. Okay,
I
bread
live at
does
home
it
and my
for me.
mummy's cooking for me.
Oh dear.
I love bread too, Becs. If I was left alone for too long, I would just eat
I
bread.
also angrily
cheese.
rebuke Craig frequently when there's only one course. I'm like, excuse you.
Where's the next course?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
That was for some reason, that moment really hit me, where he was like, "When's the next course?" And she's like, "There are no more courses." It suddenly occurred to me, I would be so sad if I thought there would be more food and there wasn't going to be.
Yeah, especially if the food you had right now was bad.
You would be fucked up about that for sure.
Poor Hugh
Why
Jackman.
don't we have 5-course meals all the time?
We
Because
don't
we're
have
not
servants, Jen.
We're not
Why
Dukes.
don't we have servants? Because we're better
I
than
can't
that,
be doing
Jen.
that. That's
Will
5
you
times
be
the
my
amount of dishes at
servant?
least.
Absolutely fucking not, Jen.
Aww. Well, there go my life ambitions.
You'll get room and board.
Having us as your
There goes-
servants?
But listen, once Genville is in operation.
Jen, you've
Yeah.
got servants, your parents, okay?
True. Whoopsies. I should start asking them for 5-course meals.
They probably
One
would as
course
well.
is not enough,
They're
Mother.
too nice, they probably would.
Yeah, I know.
Here's your charcuterie, Jen.
According to our parents' generation, we should all probably have kids by now. So why don't we just put that effort and money into each other? Let's be each other's parents.
Yeah. I don't know about that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Some of us
particular
have parental
framing.
trauma we'd rather not put onto our friends.
Does anyone need to be picked up at like 3 a.m?
Yes.
No, I don't
You're
go
not
anywhere.
coming.
Just emotionally.
You are not coming
Emotionally.
all
I'll
the
do
way
that.
to Manchester from London to pick me up at 3 a.m.
My dad probably would have.
Yeah. Are you going to come by train, are you, Paul? Because you don't drive
Yeah,
our
I don't
car.
drive.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. All I ask of you is that you immediately put your headphones on and don't talk to me when you get to
Perfect.
Now, if the offer was for you to come and pick me up as in hold me, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Like a baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if any of you need me to rock you to sleep,
Sarah,
I will give it a damn
I would
good
love
go.
to hold you like a baby, but I feel like you wouldn't actually
Yeah,
enjoy
you'd be
that.
like this.
Don't touch me.
We can
Okay,
say
for
jokes
people
the
at home,
podcast.
Helen just did a flawless Sarah impression.
I've known Sarah for a long time. I know Sarah's uncomfortable face.
I can have emotional moments when I need to.
You know you love. Sarah loves.
You love.
When it's absolutely necessary, we can all love. Now, speaking of people who need to learn how to love, let's look at
Back on track.
Flawless, Paul. That's why you're the king.
Oh Jesus! What are we even? What are we up to? What are we even up to? We just had the meal.
Oh,
We just
dinner.
Had the
We
meal.
just had dinner.
We've just
Yeah.
What the
we've
fuck
just done
happens
dinner.
next? Like,
yeah, and
my next note is the
she's like,
date.
"Fuck you, get out," and he's like, "I'm sorry if I have offended you in any way."
Yeah.
She's like,
So
"Damn, how
polite.
sincere."
Yeah.
So something happens between this and the date, but I also stopped. There's a gap in my notes here as well, so it must not have been interesting.
I have one thing. the mugging
Yeah, the mugging happens, and he rides in with a literal white horse.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the mugging happens. We see Hugh Jackman interact with a taxi cab, a hansom cab kind of thing with horses.
Wait,
Then-
before that, don't we have the fresh creamery butter business?
Oh, yes, we need the fresh creamy butter business.
Because
because after
Becs,
that
you
they go
describe
to
the butter
bar and
business.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, don't they? Okay, you do the butter.
Because she's on the fresh creamery butter account, and
Farmer's
they
choice.
still haven't managed to find someone who's not a German psychopath to read for them. And she convinces Hugh Jackman to come and do it. And everyone's like, what a joker. Look at him in his stupid little costume. And then they all fall in love with him immediately in a sexual, romantic, and
As you
platonic
would.
manner.
Fresh, creamery butter. Is there anything more comforting? I say there is. And perhaps you will agree when you sample fat-free Farmer's Bounty with the genuine essence of creamery butter in every bite. With every mouthful of Farmer's Bounty, you shall receive butter's luxurious comfort in your mouth without adding to the luxury of your waistline.
Not the funniest instance of everybody falling in love with him in a sexual platonic matter, but we'll get to that.
I also want to clarify the reason she wants him for this spot is because he basically yells at her about brioche.
About fresh creamery butter, yeah.
Well, I just think the ability to say brioche in an angry manner is one of Hugh Jackman's many skills, in my opinion.
It's quite one of those,
brioche
Sarah.
slathered in marmalade.
I also want to point out how quickly his character picked up the concept of a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No problem with that at all.
One thing, I'll say it as a good thing. One thing I enjoy about this. We'll continue. I'll save that for a minute.
We'll say it as a good thing.
We'll
As
say it
Claire
as a good
famously
thing.
called.
We enjoyed it.
Thank you. You know what? I'll save. I know the format.
I'm going
of
to
this
say
podcast.
something.
You know the
But
format.
not
That's
now.
when we do the good things.
I'm going to tell you later.
And when they come out of that, she's like having a little celebrate, but her bag gets stolen. Someone just grabs it and runs off.
There it is.
Hugh Jackman,
No.
she just chases the guy, just yelling at him.
She chases the guy. Let me just say, the shot is, we get a wide, and Hugh Jackman looks to the left, walks off. We see the cab driver in the background react a little bit like, what? And I just know the next thing that's going to happen is that this man is going to ride in on a horse.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
He
somehow
clearly unhitches the horse and gets on it and gets there in plenty of time. Pulls Meg Ryan up onto the horse by her hand, which I feel like can't actually be as easy as you think it is.
Dislocate her shoulder.
He's just be dragging her along on the ground, surely.
Such a strong core.
Nope, she just fucking Legolasses her way onto that horse.
They run down the thief. He gives a intimidating speech whilst just swinging something around.
A horsewhip.
I think it's part of the reins.
It's got metal on the end, which is what he's threatening
Shit.
him with. I don't know. Anyway, the thief drops the bag. The crowd applauds.
Yeah.
We cut to Meg Ryan clutching her handbag, looking horny and terrified, sitting in the back of a hansom cab, just staring into the middle distance, like
Hornified, if you will.
hornified, if you will.
That's my resting face.
And the
This is the
cab
point
driver
she's
is just
starting
like,
to-
your boyfriend's great at horse riding, and she's just like,
Yeah.
Jen?
No, this is the point she's starting to be like, maybe you are from the past, right?
And also, maybe I want the dick.
she says, so it's all real. And he's like, yes. And she's like, you're a duke. And I'm like, that's the part you're hung up on? He could be a duke in the modern day. That's not
true.
That's not the problem here. The problem is 19th century.
Yeah.
I mean,
real
like,
kicker.
you know, my problem with this is, you know, do you want the D? It's probably syphilitic, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hadn't crossed
that
my
could be an
mind.
issue.
Just saying. Just saying there's probably syphilis.
Date.
Yep. Date.
No.
She's going out with her boss,
Yes.
with Bradley
yes,
Whitford.
Yes.
He creepily kisses her on the head when he asks her for this date. I just want to point that out. Gross.
He does
Hate
a
it.
My
lot
boss
of
does that
creepy
to me all the
things.
time. It's fine.
He's just a creepy, creepy man. And Hugh Jackman, he doesn't like creepy, creepy men.
Yep.
Certainly not.
No. But he's been out on the lash with
Meg Ryan's brother.
Meg Ryan's brother.
Wearing a
Meg
lovely
Ryan's brother.
turtleneck jumper. He looks stunning.
Very nice, I would agree.
And a
and
great
an amazing
coat.
coat. But well,
Yes.
fucking good
It's a
coat.
really good look.
What a fucking look on him.
Now, at this point, we reach the funniest example of everybody suddenly wanting to fuck Hugh Jackman, which is that the guy is ranting about some sort of theatre production, some sort of edgy modernist theatre production.
Where Willem Dafoe says that the most interesting parts of everyone's lives are in their basements.
Yeah, and he did this monologue about how all the best things in life are hidden in people's basements.
Like the Louvre. I'm sorry, you were saying, Charles?
No,
Right,
what about the Louvre? Tell us what you were going to say.
And everybody looks at him like...
Every woman in the room is like...
He knows how to
tell us more about the Louvre.
He knows how to say the Louvre.
Sorry.
You don't know how easily impressed Americans are. I wrangled one easily.
I mean, it's not pronounced the
with the word
Louvre.
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 Louvre, please.
So, but it's just so funny of just, no, what were you going to say about the Louvre?
And then he leans in and lights a woman's cigarette while he's like, most of the museum's stuff is in the basement. It's like, yeah, that's how fucking museums work.
And the guy, yes, but my God, how do you know that? But Breckenmeyer is just fucking like, well, I've clearly been bested. I best just sit
He's
meekly
so
down
mad
and look
about it.
dejected.
Yeah.
Also, technically, anyone who goes to the Louvre goes to the basement because you have to go down that massive, big fucking escalator.
Yeah.
So,
Look
like,
at-
it's not even that impressive, bro. You go to the
Little
Louvre.
Miss fucking,
you
I've
look
been
at
to the
fucking
Louvre.
basement. Have you been to
but
the
yeah, because
Louvre basement?
Charlie, the brother, is in love with Patrice, who is here.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
Patrice definitely gave her number to Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
But Hugh Jackman is a bro and is like, oh, she gave it to me for you. Clearly not true.
Not a fact. 'Cause
She visibly hated that man.
when he calls her later, she's like,
Totally.
yeah. He's like, I like you. And she's like,
Anyway, they drunkenly crash Meg Ryan's date with her boss.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because the way that Bradley Whitford was trying to force feed her cake was unhinged.
No.
Disturbing. And also, he kept suggesting she should come and visit him in the house in England he's buying. But every time she was like, okay, but am I getting the job, the promotion that you keep promising me? He's like, the house, Meg Ryan.
And also,
the gardens are stunning. And she's like, fucking tell me if I'm a VP or not.
right at the end of that conversation, she's like, oh, when are you going to tell me? And he's like, when are you going to give me a kiss? And it's like, no. My vagina just crept up inside me when I heard that. It just like leapt up into my
However, Meg Ryan is very
shoulders.
angry about this because she thinks that her chances to become VP have been ruined.
Yes.
By Hugh Jackman absolutely taking Bradley whatever to town.
Because
Whitford.
it turns out he
Whitford.
doesn't speak French, even though he claimed he did. And he's not
doesn't
familiar with La Boheme, which
He's
he
never
claims is
fucking
his
seen
favourite
La
opera.
Boheme, the lion bitch.
Now, Jen, my note says, ask Jen what she thought of Hugh's French.
That's how I learned to speak French.
You speak French?
Fluently.
Ah, que ton visage est doux, entouré par la lumière de la lune.
What did he say?
Definitely. Look, it wasn't awful, but it definitely sounded like someone who had memorized a single line in French.
I
to
would
me.
like to point out that is the case because he says
Yes.
he's even worse at French than me if such a thing were
True,
possible.
the character
He's not
says
fluent.
he's not
He is
fluent,
only
yeah.
quoting a line which he knows
true.
from the opera.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking good
So
storytelling.
that's in
Wow.
defense of
What's
Hugh
your name?
Jackman's
It's
mediocre French.
It's fucking
In defense
good.
of James
it's fucking
Mangold.
good storytelling. It's not just they couldn't be asked him learning French.
It's not just that they were like, we've got to have someone who can speak French for this role, but Hugh Jackman is perfect in every other way.
We'll make
He
it
just
work.
loves the French. We'll rewrite the script.
Have him open and close his mouth while a French speaker stands behind him.
So,
God. At this point, do we get the sort of falling in love sort of montage?
kind of. First, he sends her a letter at which he squeezes out the inks from pens.
Right.
In order to use
And carves a quill.
He clearly knows what the pens are for. He knows what the pens are for. He's squeezing ink out of them. Why is he doing
But he
this?
can't do.
And also,
beautiful calligraphy with Becs.
It needs to be from the heart.
The pile of pens that were there, that was like 20 pens worth of
a lot
ink.
of fucking
She's
pens.
never going to be able to write anything in that apartment ever again.
No. All gone.
Dearest Meg Ryan, I have ruined all of your
all of
pens.
these pens. I do
Well, I guess they're Liev
apologise.
Schreiber's pens.
Well,
I guess
oh,
it's
yeah,
Liev Schreiber's
fuck.
apartment.
Oh,
So should we please
Also,
stop up?
Yeah, speaking of which, literally no one is asking where that motherfucker is.
No one gives a shit.
but it turns out that he's being held in the hospital
on a
for psych
psychiatric
evaluation because he keeps talking about time travel.
But his nurse is like,
fucking
oh, you're so
diagnosed.
beautiful, and she does tears about
Yeah,
his
oh,
dog.
Yeah, later,
his dog
later
is
she
better
just cry
Yeah.
about dogs and rainbows. Yeah.
I will have something to say about that later on.
Yes,
But for
same.
now,
Yeah,
now-
so he squeezes the juice
Yes.
out some pens. He sends her a letter, and she's like, and her Natasha Lyon's is like, you have to reply to this letter. It's the most romantic letter
thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and so like Natasha Lyon's has clearly done a whole calligraphy back, and she's like, just sign it and I'll fax it to him, and then that happens.
And you'll go for a date tonight on the roof terrace.
Yes, which is where we
Yeah.
meet the roof terrace.
To forgive, well, not a
The
date.
third
It's a
time.
forgive. Sorry, dear.
Meanwhile, Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman helps Charlie get a date with Patrice by writing
he
him a little
does.
speech to read out to Patrice.
and she's kind of like meh about it.
Yeah.
She says yes.
She says yes.
He says yes.
says yes after he's like, you're graceful.
Yeah, after he goes off script, but I'll have more to say about that later.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You see, that's the thing. Is so much of this movie is going to be coming up again in the cliffhanger.
Yeah, it
Huh?
is.
Basically, going to run down the plot again. When we get there.
Fucking hell, it's good. We're gonna be doing this podcast forever.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
well,
have-
let's
Okay.
read it. Now we
Yeah.
have the montage.
They're
they
in love.
look at
They're having
sunglasses for a
sex.
They're in
point,
love.
and I was so hoping she would buy bigger
Wait,
sunglasses,
what?
but they go away. Oh, is this another deleted scene?
No, I've seen the sunglasses bit. I saw the
The
sunglasses
sunglasses did come up.
Yeah, you just
there
don't
were
recall that
sunglasses for
somehow.
a second. Hugh Jackman tries them
Yeah.
on. They
Is
don't look
this
good on
when?
him.
Is this when they go visit his childhood
Yes.
home? Or
Yes,
his home,
and
his
Yeah,
actual
my
home.
question
Right.
is,
Montage.
did they break into a school?
Yes.
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 Looks like it, yeah.
They broke into a school like any good rom-com.
And he finds a ring that he's, his wedding ring that
Stashed.
he's stashed and la la la.
In a secret
And
drawer.
she's like,
that only
she
he
looks
knows
at the ring and
about.
goes, oh, and like, quivers.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
And also
sweet
like,
ring.
shit. I think you
I
are
think
from
you
the
are
past.
actually.
Yeah. It also
Technically dead.
means that he's going to have to make sure that before he dies, he puts all his shit back in there, including the ring that he's presumably, spoilers, going to give to her later when they get married.
Yeah. Spoilers.
That's
Becs.
true, actually.
Who could have guessed it would have ended that way?
Yeah, that actually pretzely-wise doesn't work. That's it. Well,
Don't
whatever.
think about it
I'm
too
not
much.
gonna.
Pretzel.
None of it
Don't
makes
worry about it.
They didn't think
Pretzel-wise.
about it too much.
It's an
So-
intricate. Wait, I wrote this down. It's an intricate. What did he fucking say?
pretzel of love or something. I don't know. It's some fucking bullshit.
A beautiful
Oh, he just
4D
talks about-
pretzel of cosmic inevitability.
There we go.
Yes.
That is a hell of a note to take whilst you're.
Yeah, I
Wearing
know,
VR
right?
headset, yeah.
Well, like I said, I voice noted things and then I transcribed them. So
They do
So-
a whole thing where they're on the roof, the sides of things.
They're on the balcony.
It's not a balcony.
The
it's
fire
a fire
exit.
She shouldn't have a chair there.
Yeah.
That's illegal in New York.
It's so romantic, Helen.
But anyway,
She's like-
they
It's
hear
so
they
romantic.
hear the old man next door. He always, every time at the same time
Okay.
at night, plays fucking the soundtrack
Breakfast
to
at
Breakfast at
Tiffany's.
Tiffany's. But it's just
Yeah.
a film about a prostitute.
So I said,
So can I say that's weird?
yeah, A, it's weird, but also B, sound carries so far in this New York. He's
really does.
across the street in a different building.
And-
And she's like,
Car noises.
every night. I'm like, his windows aren't open. How loud is he playing the Breakfast at Tiffany's
So loud. His
soundtrack?
neighbours fucking hate him so much.
Third thing, they're like, and he falls asleep
Till
to it
midnight.
every night, and he's on the sofa, and he just turns the light out on the sofa,
what are
so
you
he sleeps
doing?
on his sofa every
Get
night.
into bed. Get into bed, buddy.
He's got-
Anyway, there's a
Oh,
whole
he's got
other
such issues.
there's a whole other film here about that man and why he's so sad.
He's
Weird.
a
we
little
don't get to
weirdo
see.
is what he is.
One other thing about that sequence, that fucking weirdo. One other sequence. Look at him. One other thing about that before we move on is at this point they do talk, and there was a moment they talk about Charles and Diana.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about the story of Charles and Diana, which Meg Ryan summarizes Pressies by saying,
I don't know the story of Prince Charles and Lady Diana.
Oh, you don't want to. It's a cautionary tale, further proof.
Of what?
You can't live a fairy tale.
that what that was about?
Yeah.
Is that the lesson we
What
learned
happened
from
there?
that?
Is that what everyone learned?
Royals are shits. I think that's what we learned from that.
Rich people suck.
Rolls of shits and fuck the media.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Then she falls asleep, and I wrote, "He was a good lad," because I would have just dropped her on the bed, whereas he gently places her on the bed
And tucks her in.
Tucks her in.
So cute.
And tucks her in.
Sarah would have just dropped her beside the bed and walked away.
Charlie begins to teach Hugh Jackman weaponized incompetence, and it's like, you should only do household chores when Meg Ryan can see you doing them.
I hate that so much. that scene pissed
I
me
missed
right
that.
off.
He's like teaching him how to use the dishwasher, and he's like, okay, that's all done, but don't press this button until she can see you doing it. Because if a man does a dish and there's no one there to see him, does he really do it? Yes, the dishes are clean. You would notice that he had done the dishes.
Turning on a dishwasher, not that impressive.
That's not doing the dishes, really. Let's be real.
I like the idea that she would come in, he's sat reading a paper, oh shit, and then walks over and it's like,
and not for the first time, I just think,
done.
God, all the men in this film are
awful people. Terrible, terrible, terrible people.
Hooray, but they're quite hot though. So.
Debatable.
I'm going to fucking swing for some of them. Right, my next note is like at the ad.
Yes,
so
they go and film the actual ad spot.
As far as I can tell, on a nuclear
most elaborate
island.
set.
Really weird.
Yes.
Really weird.
It seemed to be nowhere in New York.
Yeah, definitely not.
I actually checked where they filmed it, and it is technically
Oh, wow.
in the area
Helen,
of New York.
research.
Yeah, I was just
Research.
interested. I was like,
So
where the fuck
I guess
is
it can be in the
this?
state of New York.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in the city of New York. But Hugh Jackman does his read, and he takes a bite of this fresh creamery butter and is appalled because it tastes like saddle soap. Tastes like suet, and he will not be a part of promoting this because that would be unethical. And I look at the screen and thought, man, last time I watched this, I didn't work in marketing, and right now I'm feeling a bit attacked by the argument they have afterwards, where he's like, how could you attach yourself to something like that? And she's like, if I've got to sell some shitty stuff to make ends meet and pretend I love it, then I'm going to do that. I'm clutching my head, having a crisis in a VR headset.
That's the best place to have a crisis. You can just turn on some sweet wave
Yeah, it
sounds.
was nice. I looked at
Look
the
at a beach.
70s style conversation pit I was sitting in. There's a little Roomba that goes round whilst you're watching the film, just cleaning this imaginary 3D environment, and it made me feel better.
Can you toggle that?
No, it's just there.
It's there forever.
Is it optional now? Always
No, the Roomba's there, and every so often I would catch it moving out of the corner of my eye, and I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's the Roomba. I kept thinking that someone else had appeared in my virtual film room with me, even though I made it private.
That's a horror film.
You hear that you hear the fucking Undertale music and suddenly shit's on.
And then here's the thing, though. The only people that I'm friends with in VR stuff is Jen and my sister, so it would have to have been one of them, and it would have been very weird.
I'd have done that to you. I'd have done it. Just snuck into your VR viewing room and just been crept up behind you and been like, hey, Beck.
Can I just say I'm always here for an Undertale reference? I just want to point that out. My joy. Where were we?
Anyway, yes, they argue about the ethics of marketing.
Yes.
And Meg Ryan is like, fuck you, we weren't all born with a silver spoon in our mouths. I've worked for what I've got. No, I don't like it, but that's not the point, buddy. And he's like, fine, I'll film your advert, but I'm not happy about it. And the
we're not
romance is
dating
shattered.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck
Does he
you,
literally
fuck you.
say the phrase, or have I just surmised the situation as, damn you and your butter?
Yeah, I think he does say that, or something along those lines.
That's the spirit of the event.
It's definitely the spirit.
Stunning.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, then they're in a cab and they're
Meanwhile-
like, oh, we're going to break up. Bleh. Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, Leave is broken out of the hospital by his incompetent
Gretchen.
nurse. Like, Gretchen.
Highly unethical.
Not doing a good
Gretchen,
job.
the nurse.
Beautiful and in love. Damn your cynicism.
Believes.
At this point,
You know what?
to be honest,
Twist,
at that
she
point,
wasn't a nurse.
Yes, I genuinely had thought, like, is she also a patient here?
She was crying at a dog
All right,
metaphor,
Meg.
so-
All right, Meg, let's get you back into the fucking insane asylum. You're the craziest one here.
God.
I feel like
So Liev Schreiber
That's 7
finally
people.
breaks out and becomes part of the narrative again.
Yes.
Yay.
Basically
Welcome back,
saying,
Liev.
Hugh, you have to go home or else I won't exist.
Yeah.
Because
he does
I'm
also-
your descendant.
Yeah, right? But that was cut
Oh,
out. That's,
shit, I
no,
missed
but that's
that
cut
bit.
out of the main film.
It's not.
It is?
It was. No, it was.
It's not
I
my
promise
version.
you,
all watched
we've all
I
watched
didn't see
different
that.
versions.
It was in my
Because
version.
I
it's
definitely
not
didn't
in
have
ours.
any sunglasses.
There are 5 versions of Cain
No
Leopold, and
sunglasses.
we each watched one.
But I didn't see the film screening. But it's like a throwaway line where he says
Oh,
like,
maybe I just missed it.
because Hugh Jackman is
No.
like, like
Wow.
you're really saying that like descendants that I've yet to have, like, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gross.
Oh, you dated
does
your great,
also-
great,
That's
etc.
some
grandmother.
incest right there.
Yes.
That's an
yes. So
incest.
that's what me and Bex meant by troubling implications.
Why are there
Yeah,
so
that's
many
not-
versions
not
of
in
this
the-
film?
Not in the main
Yeah,
theatrical
definitely not
release
in
at
the
all.
main.
But I
no,
did,
no.
I did know about it because again, I did my research about this for some reason.
He does recruit. He manages to recruit to his side Brick Break and Breckenmeyer, the wrestler, by showing him photographs of Hugh Jackman in period costume, but with other people in period costume as well.
Yes.
Oh my god, it is real. It's like, you're an actor.
Yeah, this is a LARP.
It looks like a lot.
This is a
like,
lot.
That's what you'd assume. He's just been in a film.
But they
about it.
seemingly spot something else as well, which makes them really be like, "Oh my god, it is real."
Oh my god. And then they get cut off by him.
Now,
Yeah.
was that also at the beginning of the film for everyone else? Because
No.
I thought that was a huge...
No!
Nope, just me. That they show a
What?
very long, lingering shot of Meg Ryan in the past at the very beginning of the film.
No, that doesn't make
that's-
any
Makes
sense.
sense that they cut that out.
Way.
At the beginning of the film.
Glad they cut that out.
Because I wrote a note
Yeah,
that just sort of
crazy.
ruined... Because the whole time I was like, well, Meg Ryan's going to be in the past,
That's
then, I
fine.
guess.
Meg Ryan's
Yeah,
good.
like throw her into the background as a cool thing you could catch the third time you watch the movie. But
It was
Yeah.
just,
A
it
long
was
lingering-
like he runs past and she turns around and the shot lingers for like 5 seconds and she stares.
Oh, and is that why you keep saying,
What
"Oh,
the
I feel like
fuck?
I've seen you before"?
Yes.
oh my god, it's all coming together. You need to get 5 people to watch different versions of this movie so you can piece it
To make-
together.
to make-
Feels
it makes
like one of
sense.
those things where it's like they've secretly released different endings to the book and they've not told anyone.
It's like the
and readers
the
are just gonna
butterfly
start
effect.
arguing about what actually happens in it.
Because the butterfly effect has several different endings as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. As does
Yeah,
Clue.
yeah. So I think that's what they've done.
Yeah.
I think they've done it on
Crazy.
purpose. Either way,
We're just the
Wow.
first people to discover it because we're the only people that
Yeah.
ever talked about the
We're the
film.
first 5 people to talk about
Truly,
Cain
this
Leopold.
film is a master's thesis, Paul.
I think
Yes.
I think wink wink. You should do a master's feast on it. Wink wink. So basically, he gets blasted back into the past. We don't see that.
Yeah.
He's wandering around the past doing the same things he did before. While
Yeah, so he
No
goes
budget.
back to before he left.
Yeah.
Another thing
No,
that
I,
really
I was
didn't make any
thinking. I was
sense.
thinking about the logic of this because I also
Okay.
didn't understand that, and I think it's the whole day. The portal matches up with a day in the past, so Hugh Jackman actually leaves early that morning. He's like, "Right, me and Meg Ryan aren't doing anything anymore. I filmed my commercial. I'm just going to go back to the past because this day is the only day for me to go back." And so he goes back and then starts the day earlier. The logic of why there's not 2 of him in the scene or whatever.
Yeah,
ignore that.
that is troubling.
2 different pan
Like, he
legs
should
of
have been
time,
able to.
isn't it?
He should have been able to just step in after he ran off chasing Lee Schreiber. That would have been fine.
Yeah,
But
doesn't,
anyway,
doesn't make
this,
sense.
this time
but-
around, he's like his uncle is doing his whole. At the beginning, they had an argument about marrying a rich woman, and this time around, he's
Paxton
like, "All right,
Whitehead.
who's the richest chick in the room? I'll marry her." And his uncle's like, "Oh, well,
He's
great."
jaded.
Right.
He's already so
Oh well,
jaded.
it's her right over here, Kristen Shaw.
Says Hugh Jackman.
But
Straight on her.
Oh,
meanwhile,
God.
Meg Ryan is going to like a nice
Promoted.
place.
Finally got because her boss has been chastened by the experience of Hugh Jackman being mean to him, and is being less weird, less sexually aggressive, but still a bit weird in that he's now being kind of cold. And distant and
Well,
still
he's
not telling her
Isn't he
shit.
implied to have moved on? Like, there was another lady looking very similar to Meg Ryan behind him.
And it's like, look.
He smirks at a secretary, and then he's got other. He's moved on.
Fine. He's got other stuff to do.
People with less Hugh Jackman related
other women
But she is being made the VP of New York operations. And so there's a big party going on where they will announce that news, although everyone does already know, because as soon as she walks in the door, everyone's like, congrats, congrats, congrats.
So why are you announcing?
That's how that works. But Bradley Whitford introduces this incidentally and introduces her into the stage in an intercut sequence that does make it seem like the band have just played over Bradley Whitford's speech. Like they just couldn't be fucked to stop.
There was one thing that I could do, and it didn't require money, and it didn't require a fancy school. I learned that I could please people, and there is nothing wrong with that. I am a people pleaser, people.
But whilst this is happening, Liev Schreiber and whatever the fuck the other guy's name is.
Charlie.
Breckenmeyer.
I know his character name.
He was like Randy Savage.
Are desperately trying to make their way into this party because, as it turns out, they need to give these photographs to Meg Ryan because she's in them.
Yes.
Bum, bum, bum. So they make their way in. They're like announcing her on stage. Liev Schreiber does a terrible job of telling her what's going on, and is just like, maybe we were right for each other, but not in the way you think. And she's like, shut up.
What
I'm
are you
trying to
talking
leave.
about?
Like, he does not get to the point quick enough.
No.
No.
For someone who's only got 23 minutes until he has to get her in there, right? That's you're being too
Christ. He's like, you have to
oblivious.
jump off the Brooklyn Bridge in the next 23 minutes. And there's a version of this film somewhere where it just pulls out and they've murdered Meg Ryan.
That's the one I watched. I'm surprised.
But she goes up to make her speech about being like, thanks, I'm VP now. And then she looks down and she sees the photographs and she sees they're in them, and she's like, maybe what you want was in front of you all along and you didn't realize that you loved him, but you do love him, and actually it's all you ever want. I have to go.
Actually, it turns out that really hot guy who was into me and was perfect in every way is actually the guy I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
So goodbye, career. I'm going to go literally maybe kill
and
myself.
Also,
in
I'm
order to
going
try
to
and get back
leave
to the past.
my brother, who I love quite a lot, clearly.
Yep, bye, brother, forever.
I'll see you, bye, don't care, give a fuck.
Bye.
Gosh, isn't it lucky I'm wearing a dress?
One that could vaguely, maybe, possibly, almost.
Although I have
be
something to say
Victorian-ish.
about that in a bit.
Yeah,
so.
fair. She's a streetwalker.
In my head canon, Liev Schreiber will go home, do his calculations again, and work out another window that goes back to that. Like,
send the Breckenmeyer
because
back.
he did go. There was 2 different windows, so that they can visit each other again. That's my personal.
In Kate and Leopold too. So kids across time.
Jen, when are you going to write your Kate and Leopold fan fiction?
Already started it, baby.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's a joke.
It's far filthier than the film.
Meg Ryan jumps off a bridge.
Yes.
Yes.
And
in
again,
full
we
view of
do
the
not
police
see
officer, whilst Liev Schreiber and Charlie
encourage her.
Are like literally to the police officer, like, no, don't stop her. So God knows what everyone's going to think about them.
Right back to the insane asylum, I guess.
a lot of police resources were probably wasted dredging the river for her corpse.
Yeah,
for sure.
During which Liev Schreiber was beaten to death in prison.
Here is where I would like to say, she is in fact wearing a different dress when she goes back into it.
Is she?
The portal did it.
She 100% is. It's genuinely, because the thing that made me notice was suddenly there was lace around the collar, and I was like,
there was
that's
no
weird.
lace.
There wasn't lace before.
There?
But then when she's running, she has an entire period appropriate train.
Oh yeah,
she
which
didn't
she
have
did not
before.
have at all.
However, whilst more appropriate, the dress is still not appropriate by
not at all.
Sarah,
19th century standards.
She's not even wearing
Sarah,
a hat.
Did you get a sequence where she beats a Victorian lady to death and takes her clothes?
I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up. I didn't think it was relevant.
It was Kristen Schaal. Devastating.
Very cruel, and very visceral. Lots of blood.
How's the movie end?
Her way to the party, and manages to get in because she recognizes Otis, his butler, somehow.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're an old guy who was mentioned to me
hold on.
once."
We have skipped one very important thing.
Oh no!
It's in the when Hugh goes back to the past. She gets in an elevator and it works again.
Yes.
And
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Oh my god, I missed that.
Yeah. There is that
so
significant scene.
And she gets like a look
so
over her
dumb.
face, like, oh my god.
Yeah, she looks up at the elevator as this, and she's like, wow. She manages.
He really was Mr. Elevator.
She manages to make it into the party just as Hugh Jackman is mid-sentence about to announce his engagement to Miss Tree of the Schenectady Trees or whatever her name is, and he just says her name because he sees her, and everyone's like,
Kate McKay. She's not got any money. This seems bad.
and then they dance,
And they live in poverty.
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah, they have no money.
Yep.
The most abrupt ending.
They will do when he invents elevators.
Apparently, the real of that era, the real Duke of Albany died of haemophilia about 8 years later. So,
Fuck yeah.
nice.
We love that.
But yeah, cut to credits.
All in the sequel. Kate
Cut to
Leopold
credits.
2 across time.
It's so
Cut to
quick,
credits.
and then Sting starts playing.
Well, not for me. For me, I get. Would you like to watch? What the fuck was it?
She's all that.
She's all that,
She's
which
all
is
that.
significantly
She's all that,
better. That's the one good
Yeah,
thing.
better movie.
Well, let's get into that. Paul, ask us our opinions. It's not
Hold on.
significantly better.
Before I do, I can't get over the cartoon logic of the fact that he travels forwards from time and therefore never invented the elevator.
Yes.
And so here in the modern
We have
day,
never
the
thought
world
to
is
do
doing
that.
the equivalent of just, hang on a minute, these were never invented. Whoa!
I also looked up the history of the elevator because I was like, who did invent the elevator? Because I know that it wasn't this made-up man. And basically, 12 people did it at the same time. So, like...
Well, there you go.
It was like, this guy invented this, but this guy invented the one that had, like, the safety pulley that meant the cable wouldn't snap, but this guy invented one with benches that did this. And it's like, all right, it was still getting invented either way.
Everyone was going to invent it. It's fine. We just needed to get up big buildings. It was a standard.
I'm gonna do this in reverse order of when people got involved in this. So, Sarah, what did you make? No, I'm gonna hold that till last. I'm gonna start with the OG. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is Maverick.
You got
approach
mad.
to podcasting. Becs, how was your revisit?
Well, like I said, I didn't work in marketing the first time I watched this, and that did genuinely have a significant impact on how I felt about this film. I felt pretty much the same as I watched it last time, which was it was like fun, silly rom-com that I enjoyed being like, wow, really? You're going to make the woman who hates misogyny in her current job go back to the 19th century and live it out with a handsome man?
Should be fun.
But it's fun. There's some great actors in it, and I had a good time apart from the marketing crisis.
Beautiful. Helen, I forgot we already established it actually started with you. What did you think of it?
Yeah, pretty much the same, Nyan. I do love this film, and there's no good reason why I love this film. It's absolutely insane that I love this film, but I still fucking love this film for no good reason. I think it might be because of Hugh Jackman's lovely turtleneck, but I also think that it's like the most horrible message a film could possibly have.
Yeah, for sure.
An absolutely terrible, horrible message, and no, fuck you to the film.
Yeah.
I may have something to say on that, but yes, absolutely. Not to defend it, but anyway. Jen, what did you make of it?
Oh, I really like it. I've had this film on DVD for a long time. My DVD version has never had anything about a this is I'm your great grandson or whatever.
I'm so intrigued by that because it was like a really throwaway line.
Wow.
But it was definitely in my version, and until then I would have sworn that we'd watched the same version apart from the sunglasses, I guess.
He brings up a bunch in my version.
Oh,
wow.
In my version it was once, and it was kind of throwaway, but I was like, ooh.
How many versions are there of this film? That's my question.
I will try and find out.
Yeah. Anyway, I love this film, but
yeah.
I think I am with Helen. I think it's mostly because I've got a massive boner for Hugh Jackman in it.
Also, I love Meg Ryan.
That is.
Yeah.
For both of them
boner
now.
for all.
Yeah.
Boner for everyone.
But mostly for Hugh
Bonus
Jackman,
for
I'm
all.
going to be honest on this occasion.
Yeah, to be fair.
It's very charismatic. I mean, generally Meg Ryan, yes, but this was the performance for, this was the stronger performance, I think.
Yeah.
But Meg Ryan, you've got to see in the cut. Sarah, you're the big wild card here because you hadn't seen it before.
And you saw the craziest
All
version.
very curious. You've had your tastes praised and said that you are more likely to be above this than anyone else. So, what did you make of it?
So I had seen it before when I was on holiday with my family, and the only scene I remembered was the bit where he's filming the commercial. And everything else was absolutely new to me. And I was as surprised as anyone that I enjoyed it. I had a really good time, except for the ending. We all have a problem with the ending. The ending is fucking wild.
Jen's fixing it for us in her Fix It Fic.
Yeah, be fine.
But I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
It's a romp.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Paul, what do you think?
Paul? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have to concede that my viewing circumstances were fairly ideal, I think, because basically I was watching it on my big screen. You know, I had all the time in the world for it. I'd started earlier than I thought I was going to, so I had plenty. I wasn't, desperate for it to end so I could get to bed. And also, I was messaging my friend Kat, who loves this movie pretty much throughout the entire thing, mostly pictures of people's clothing, and just sort of bonding over how fucking tight all the fits are in this particular film. So fucking tight. Yeah, it really helps me to appreciate what is wrong with some of the other films that we've covered, because there's a similar thing going on with movies like Sweet November with Keanu Reeves or Genie recently. There's a similar sequences of sort of, there's a fish out of water.
Yeah.
They hook up with someone who's very mired in our world, and the fish out of water sort of takes it all in for the first time with a whimsical perspective and helps the cynical character to see it from a new perspective.
Can I just say you're describing what my one better thing is going to be, and you'll know.
Excellent, because that is a genre, very much so, and I think it's something that we're all kind of excited by. The idea that someone beautiful might be bewitched by our mundane existence just because of unfamiliarity with it. But my God, does it help when the fish out of water is this charismatic?
Yeah.
No offense to Charlize Theron from Sweet November or Melissa McCarthy from
Genie.
From Genie, but yeah, Hugh Jackman is just so deeply charming.
Yeah,
so
beautiful
charming.
in this movie. And regarding the messaging, it's interesting because yes, it has a very conservative kind of message at the heart of it, which is quite ridiculously that women should give up on their career and just pursue the fairy tale of true love.
After a weekend with this man.
But action movies often skew to a right-wing sort of messaging of sort of violence will ultimately win the day, and it's a fantasy. It's quite nice to think that if you just killed the right bad guys, you would make the world a better place, and perhaps part of me longs for Hugh Jackman to save me from the burden of my responsibility of having to try and make it in the world, and just take me in his arms and bring me back to the 19th century and make nice
feed you
buttery toast
brioche.
for me.
Brioche slathered in
Feed me
marmalade.
brioche.
Yeah.
And I can accommodate that within this film of the realm of being a modern person who has to go out and work, is my deep, complicated longing to be loved by Hugh Jackman.
You say that, but gayness was illegal then, so I just I don't think that would work.
Yeah, however, the plus being that no one believed that lesbians existed.
Well, that's true. That was not a bad time to be a lesbian, if we're being real with ourselves.
You just live with a close female friend.
Oh yeah,
for the rest of your life.
my cousin.
They're very close, aren't they?
Yes.
They're all
good
together.
buddies.
That is strange.
Pals.
I was looking up an artist because I wanted to try and emulate their kind of style for a piece. And I was like, I'll just look into them as a person. And it was like, he lived with a male friend for his entire life and never married, and they were always together.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Male friend, yes. Male
Okay.
friend.
Yeah.
And then it was still like
Best
after
friend.
and after that it was like and he was his model and his muse, and all of his paintings are super homoerotic and full of sexual tension. And then at the end it was like it's still debated whether or not he was gay, and I'm like,
Is it?
by you
Is
maybe.
the debate? I think he was gay. I think he was super gay. It's
If you've
debatable.
ever seen a Leon painting of two men looking at each other, then I think there's no doubt. You can Google that, listeners, if you don't know who Leon is.
I think the problem with these kinds of fantasy and the sort of guilt factor comes in when they do correspond to what society is pressuring everyone to be. When men are pressured to be super violent and aggressive all the time, then action movies are quite problematic. And when women are programmed to be sort of docile and sort of compliant, then movies like this can be quite problematic. But if we get to a more liberated time, where I can choose to be docile and subservient, and all the ladies can choose to be violent and problematic, then...
Oh, give me that time. I want movies about violent, problematic women, please.
You want to be stomped on, though, Becs.
You've brought so many of those to this podcast.
I want the old guard just over and over again, where I just look at Charlize Theron and think, step on me.
Yep.
Look, we all want that.
Facts.
But are there any other thoughts on Kate and Leopold before we quickfire things we liked?
What was my deep thought? That maybe you could like, I mean, the reason he falls in love with her is because she is a strong, opinionated woman. So maybe
so unlike the women of his time.
This is saying if you want to catch the hottie Hugh Jackman, then actually you do have to have a personality and independence.
Struggle a bit.
And maybe
she likes the hunt.
It could be quite anti-capitalist because she's like, you know what, actually.
Fuck marketing.
It's not. It's this. Yeah, it's not worth this VP job.
And we do see, Paul, you kind of mentioned it that, right? Who the fuck is Ryan? No, Hugh Jackman. I don't know where the name Ryan came from. Hugh
Ryan
Jackman gives Charlie this script of like how to woo a woman, and Charlie doesn't really use it. He takes one small bit of it, but in the end, he is his very awkward self, and he even has a line where he says. And I don't have to dress up because she likes me for who I am. So maybe there's like a positive message in here of like, if you are trying to fit yourself into a box that you are not comfortable in, you don't have to. There is someone out there who just likes you for you, whatever that is. And like you said, the context makes it a bit problematic in terms of like it being like, if you're a woman trying to be in a high-powered career, don't. But like, you know, maybe there is a positive side to that message that we can generously...
Do you know what? Do you know what would have helped? Cut back to the future, and the assistant is now in the high-powered position. They Whitford right in the fucking face. Look. Let's quickfire.
Quickfire! Yes, it's going to be so quick with us.
Quickfire. Oh, Christ. Let's do alphabetical Becs.
Oh gosh. Okay, well, let me scroll down.
Oh, shit.
I really enjoyed
anti-alphabetical.
The opening shots of historic New York had a really retro Disney feel to me. They really looked like the opening of Mary Poppins, where they've painted a bunch of the background. And I just really liked the vibes.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love a good solid Victorian beard.
Fuck yeah.
Stunning. Always happy. Delighted to see it.
Solid agree. Jen.
I will say the thing I was going to say earlier and then refuse to say until quickfire, which is that he's a fish out of water from the past, but he's not an idiot. He's a guy who can invent an elevator, and so he's smart enough to just be like, well, he's not staring at a toaster being like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this works. He just gets stuff.
Flawless Chapman.
Like, he's smart, and they don't make him just be completely like useless just because he's from the past.
Yeah, that is good.
He picks things up.
And in fact, he makes the toaster better.
Which is another thing.
Toaster, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do indeed put my toaster down once and then pop it up halfway through the second cycle.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Everyone does.
That thing is a damned hazard.
It's just a toaster.
Well, insertion of bread into that so-called toaster produces no toast at all, merely warm bread. Inserting the bread twice produces charcoal. So, clearly, to make proper toast, it requires 1.5 insertions, which is something for which the apparatus doesn't begin to allow. One assumes that when the General of Electric built it, he might have tried using it. One assumes the General might take pride in his creations instead of just foisting them on an unsuspecting public.
Yeah, he's right.
But I love the fact that they gave him that Seinfeld-ass observational comedy to break out in that moment. What is the deal with?
Yes. True.
Sarah?
The dog was a very good actor.
He opened that door with his teeth.
Boy.
Paul, you missed yourself out of this alphabetical.
I go last. Guess first.
Aww.
I was just worried you'd forgotten the alphabet for a second.
M-N-O-S Q-R-P.
Oh dear.
I really liked the opening music. It was very 90s. It was very, in spite of this being a 2002 film, it was extreme. 2001, excuse me. It was very 90s and got me exactly where I needed to be.
Oh yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Becs.
There, at the beginning, when Hugh Jackman is, his uncle is like ranting at him, there's a great double slap that Hugh Jackman just basically doesn't react to. His reaction is for his head to get turned away, to get turned back by the second slap, and he just has the same expression on.
And good. Flawless sound effect as well.
Yeah, incredible.
He does a great I've just been slapped face of just sort of slight tremble in the lip. Like, oh, beautiful.
Helen.
I know, I was waiting to be announced.
I assumed you'd learned the order. Sorry. It's Helen.
So I'm
coming in with a steel chair.
You've already discussed the dad with the double slap. Very good. No, the uncle, sorry. I also liked the uncle's line, I don't want him ready, I want him resplendent.
He'll be ready, my lord, I assure you.
I don't want him ready, I want him resplendent.
Fabulous.
William
So
Baxter.
good. Brilliant line, well delivered.
good.
And the best thing about that line is that you get to hear it twice in this movie.
Yep.
Yes, and you get to quote along that second time as I did. I just dead stared David in the eye because he'd come back into the room at that point and just said the line at him.
His first mistake.
So good.
Never come back in the room while you're watching.
Did he come back and be like, are you watching this again? He came into the same scene.
Round 2, baby.
Just back to back. I've got 48 hours to watch this in. I can watch as many times as I like.
That's that freelance time.
Yeah.
That's some freelance shit.
I was just going to say that same line. So instead I'll say it was a Hugh Jackman one where he's very drolly like, in a life as stagnant as mine, that I can amuse myself at all as an evolutionary marvel. And I was just like, just the way he's just like, I'm so droll.
I'm so happy with that.
And I loved all of it. I was there for that. I was there for it.
Sarah, keep.
In the same vein of great sound effects, when Leave even and Hugh are fighting on top of the bridge before going back in time, they start slapping each other, and it's the most impotent slapping sound of just like the most like slap, 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 slap.
Yeah,
It's so
kids having
funny.
a slap fight on the playground, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the physical business they give to Liev Schreiber at various times, starting early on when he gets hit with the camera at one stage. But I think it's what happens in the doctor's office. There's some physical thing.
He's trying to get out, and the nurse opens the door.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very good.
I enjoy that. And Schreiber also had a good face.
Yeah.
When is it? He wakes up, I think. Oh, that's it. No, they inject him with the stuff, and he has to slowly run out of energy and then just collapse. And yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
And he
little
has
bit
to
of
hop when
comedic
he's
stuff.
running out of the hospital and he's hobbling because his leg's broken and he's pulling his coat on and he's looking back
Panicking,
like,
running away
it's
from
very
dogs.
good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Love that.
Very good physical performance in this.
Becs.
I really enjoyed the way that they like establish the like animosity that exists between Meg Ryan and Liev Schreiber with the like they are upstairs downstairs neighbors, and she can clearly like hear what's going on. She knows this, and there's a bit where she has a control for the dog's shock collar or like the anti-bark collar.
Oh yeah,
and she presses it on the dog, and I was like, that's fucking mean. But then it's because she knows Liev Schreiber will take it off and be carrying it, and she like tracks him across and zaps it again,
Really
and
brilliant.
he yells and falls over, and she does this little like got him like celebration that really made me laugh. That I was like, she has spent days perfecting this. And I
And he
really
fucking
enjoyed
falls
that
for it every
moment,
time.
and I really enjoyed how it portrayed the like we're in the petty like we're separate, like we're exes, but we still see each other, and we're still trying to see each other in order to annoy each other kind of stage.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Love that. Helen?
I enjoyed the line.
The world has changed all around it, but Roebling's erection still stands.
Yes.
Stunning line.
Yes. It was very good.
It's a miracle, man. It's a bridge.
I was so happy about it.
A joy, true joy. Yep.
Oh god.
Is it me?
Jen?
It is
Is
me.
it me? It's me.
I'm going to have another Liev line. Well, it's just, I really enjoyed Liev Schreiber's performance in general, but he does some like, he has this like really good grin, like where he's like half happy, half like overwhelmed with emotion when he's like, I found it. Like I found the hole in time. And it's just all of his like enthusiastic, nervous, dorky energy as he's like talking about his time travel. And again later when he is talking to the nurse, and yes, she's crazy for letting him out of the psych ward. But I like it's skipping ahead a bit, but
I would have
just
too.
in the same. Yeah, I would have too, because his whole monologue is bananas, but also great. He delivers it so well.
It is no more crazy than a dog finding a rainbow. Dogs are colorblind, Gretchen. They don't see color.
Really?
Just like we can't see time. We can feel it. Oh, we can feel it passing, but we can't see it. It's just a blur. It's like we're riding in a supersonic train. And the world is just blowing by. But imagine if we could stop that train, Gretchen. Huh? Imagine if we could stop that train, get out, look around, and see time for what it really is. A universe, a world, a thing as unimaginable as color to a dog. And as real and tangible as that chair you're sitting in.
I have that as one of my quick things. I really liked his speech.
I think he's just got a really nice voice as well. He's got like one of those voices that's really like, you just listen to him, you're like, yes, what a nice voice you have.
Is Liev Schreiber the stealth hottie?
There's no stealth about it. I mean, he's, you know.
Oh my God.
There's no Hugh Jackman, but that's because he doesn't get to wear the turtlenecks.
That's true.
Honestly.
Liev Schreiber in a turtleneck.
He could have been cast in that main role. I think he could have done it just fine.
I 100% think he wears various turtlenecks in Scream, but he's a creepy guy in that.
Yeah, so it's a different matter.
That's just my
Cotton
thing.
weary. Fuck. Sarah.
This is not... I got wistfully mindful for a brief second. I was like, Liev Schreiber and Hugh Jackman team back up in Wolverine Origins.
Shit! Yes, I didn't think about that.
And that's not the Wolverine film that James Mangold directed.
No, it isn't.
It's wild.
That's so weird.
Coinkydink.
Like the producers are watching X-Men Origins and they're like, does anyone else remember?
Cultural touchstone.
Cultural touchstone. Someone was reading Sight and Sound and it's like, I'm way
but yeah, I've said it before, but the cast is fucking out of this world. Bradley Whitford.
It's so good.
Paxton Whitehead, Natasha Lyonne, even though she doesn't get to do that much, which is a real shame.
Yeah. Viola Davis,
she?
even though she doesn't get to do that
Viola
much.
Davis.
Kristen
Who
Schaal.
was Natasha Lyonne?
Natasha Lyonne's her secretary.
The one, who's reading all the romance
Also
novels.
the one I have a big
yeah.
old lesbian crush on. Oh
yeah, same. Hard same.
Every day.
And you know what? She had more to do in my cut of the film, but still not enough.
And Sarah keeps cut of Kate and Leopold.
Sarah actually spent a lot of time AI generating extra content for this film specifically to fill her needs.
God. Oh, Christ. Me. I don't care if it's a fucking hazard and if all these people are eventually going to die. The fucking fire escape scene in this movie is amazing. I love how casually they can stroll in and out of each other's apartments via the fire escapes. No one uses the hall.
Yeah.
And putting a seat out there and just chilling on the fire escape, hearing the sounds of New York, checking out the neighbors and looking at the sky. Oh my God, I wanted to die
I
for
too
that.
would probably fall in love with someone in that situation.
Yeah. Literally anyone. Get me on a fire escape. I'm anyone's.
Well, like an English fire escape.
Becs.
Fire door.
Yeah, oh, God.
I want to just do a fairly general one, which is the costumes in this. I really liked Meg Ryan's weird business suits. So into that shit. But also, there were some really nice touches that I really enjoyed. For example, when Hugh Jackman first gets invited to dinner, he comes down and he's wearing all of his garb, but he's wearing what is clearly one of Liev Schreiber's modern shirts,
tie.
Under his and shirt and tie under his waistcoat and his jacket. It's like a horrible brown striped business. But I really love the attention to detail there of he has taken a clean shirt from a closet and it's a modern shirt that he's wearing under this, and I just really enjoyed that.
I love that.
You know
too.
what's great? I've
That's
got an
such a good
additional
bit.
that follows on from that.
Hell yeah.
Go on.
Let's just do a fashion
Round.
round.
So her clothes get slowly more and more old school as well. So he gets more modern and she gets more old school. So she's like, the first thing she's wearing, like, just fucking Matrix shit. And then at one point she's wearing like a little waistcoat. And then the last thing she's wearing has got like a corset involved and like a long dress thing. So I think that might have been a purposeful thing. They're making him look more modern and her looking more old school. So they kind of meet.
Yeah, and she starts wearing skirts about halfway through the film.
Yeah.
It's a horrible skirt. That's the one outfit I did not enjoy.
Oh no.
Just none of that matches together, but otherwise, yes, great. Very interesting.
Any other additions to Ellen's fashion corner? Wink. Weird it's here, but
tiny glasses, turtleneck jumper, all of those things.
Oh god, yeah. The Chapman's long coat that is particularly dazzling when he leaves the date and crosses the street with Rowdy Bruck.
Yeah, it's good shit.
And also,
but it's so good.
It's just very good coat.
Yeah,
and he's so tall.
Oh,
is he attractive or is he just tall?
Is he just tall and young? No one can tell. Also, Meg Ryan's leather coat and scarf combo. I think
the
that
weird,
is what
like,
Matrix
furry
just,
scarf.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That she just whips off repeatedly. Love it.
Oh god, love it.
Wow.
All right. I don't know what to do now. Do we
Who's
restart the
Jen?
order?
Sarah,
Or
you
do we-
say something, right?
Oh, I think Jen
Sarah.
has it's Jen's
Yeah,
turn.
go on, Jen.
Oh,
Is
sorry.
it?
Sorry.
Okay. Let me see. I've got a line here that Hugh Jackman says. I think it's early on. I think it might be the first time he's met Meg Ryan, and she's very like modern in his eyes, obviously. And he has this line, and I think it's because he's like, "Oh, you work or whatever. You're very modern," and he goes.
I myself once courted a librarian in Sussex.
It's just he delivers it really well.
Great
And she
line.
goes, funny line.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's like, okay. He clearly thinks he's being very modern.
Librarians in Sussex are famously foxy, to be
Yeah.
fair, as we all know.
Famously.
Oh my god.
Wink to you, librarians in Sussex.
Oh, this book is only available in an archive in Sussex.
Well,
We all know what that means.
Well. I really need this book for my dissertation. Good luck with that. Sarah?
When the actors are talking, they establish like, oh, we are actors because they're talking about Willem Dafoe, and I very much appreciated that because Willem Dafoe is a phenomenal actor who did a lot of stage work before, being the Green Goblin. And still does a lot of stage work. So I was like, you should admire Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe's the best.
Willem Dafoe's fucking great, and also underratedly hot in an unconventional way.
Yes.
Yeah, weirdly hot.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, I mentioned a few of these. Okay, I'm gonna go for the nurse because I love the fact that young women of Rochefort style, everyone gets a love interest in this. Like, love is gonna win the day for everyone. And there's like at the point when he's like just such a sad sack. My note for that scene is literally no one is asking where Lee Schreiber is, and he's like this whimsical romantic adventure is happening beyond his, with his ex dating the man who is his ex is hanging around with and being seduced by the man who is the focal point of all of his
and
research.
his great
his ancestor
and his great granddad, and they're all these things are happening without him, as no one is asking where he is. And then he's at his lowest moment. He delivers this beautiful speech about time, and then it just turns out the nurse is into it.
Yeah,
and I was like, yay!
They
James
had
Mangold,
some really
for not
nice
making me feel grim.
looks between them when she says, "I believe you," and he kind of tips his head as if he's like, "Yeah, right," but then he looks at her and sees the tears in her earnest eyes, and he gets a shy little smile, and I was like,
it's love.
They do love it.
It's
You love
really
that. You
unhinged,
need
troubling love.
Now look, I'm down to my last one, so can I suggest we empty our
coffers.
sacks?
Paul, I've
starting
got
with
a whole other page
empty
here.
our coffers.
Yeah, I've still got a few to go.
I've
Well, that's
only
fine,
got
I'm gonna
one as
suggest-
well, Paul.
I've only got a couple left, yeah.
Cool. Spend your entire war chest on this
Okay.
final charge. Becs?
Do you just want me to go through a bunch? Okay.
No, I haven't. Yeah, all the rest.
Okay, so in their incredibly awkward rooftop date where one violinist just has to violin for the entire time that they're like 2 feet away from them, they're having a little dance, and Meg Ryan says, "People think I'm brave, but I'm not brave." And Hugh Jackman looks her in the eye and says, "Bravery is just knowing that something awful might happen and doing it anyway." And I'm like, yes, that is the definition of bravery. And it really made me laugh that it wasn't like a subversion of what bravery is supposed to mean. He just defined bravery to her. Straight up.
That's really good.
It made me laugh a lot.
That's true.
The Bond villain butter ad genuinely, I think, might be my favorite
so
bit of this film.
Oh,
it's so ominous.
Oh, yeah.
And
Didn't even mention also just his delivery of fresh creamery butter.
I mean, yeah.
Which is the whole like conceit, and it's just
So
delicious.
The bit where Liev Schreiber's trying to get a telephone and almost murders the man in the next bed by accident because he like rips out all of his breathing tubes. Peak comedy. He did it. He played it very well. And then the nurse comes in. He's just like, "Oh, I think there's a problem with his." Yeah. Hugh Jackman simply looks correct on a horse, and that pleases me.
Yes.
Like, if there's anyone going to be riding a horse, it should be Hugh Jackman.
It's weird when he's not.
Yeah.
Where's
the
your
rest
fucking
of his
horse,
legs?
mate?
Something that really tickled me was Natasha Lyonne's writing the reply to the letter. So she's written, "I am pleased to accept your invitation" in fancy font. There's not even any punctuation in it. There's no full stop at the end of that. But then she's put like a really corporate sign here sticker at the bottom and
really
faxes it. And that just, it made me laugh a lot.
That's very good.
Charlie does a little happy dance at some point. I really enjoyed it because it looked exactly like my happy dance.
Love that.
I've also got something about Gretchen here. Just like, I fell in love with Gretchen. That was the show for me as I saw her. I was like, she's so beautiful. She had these huge big eyes and the tears in them, and she was so earnest. And I was just like, gosh, I would like to be looked at like that by Gretchen, maybe.
And then maybe
I really enjoyed the line that I quoted earlier, "a beautiful 4D pretzel of cosmic inevitability," when Liev Schreiber's talking about the past. I really enjoyed when they're trying to get into the party and they can't get in because they don't have an invitation. And so Charlie just starts screaming and hitting his head, and everyone just doesn't know what to do with that. And then they just
It's so out of the blue.
go in.
It's an actor move. It's an actor move.
Yeah.
And aside from one, I did miss out earlier. I should have said this. There was an appropriate time to do this because we were talking about silly sound effects. Right at the beginning, when Hugh Jackman is riding a horse after Liev Schreiber, it's like the most stock sound clip-clop I've ever heard. It did not even match up with the tempo of the horses. It was just like clip-clop, 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 clip. I was like, that horse is galloping. That's not the right noise for that horse. And that's it. Those are all my good things.
Wow. Woo! Unbelievable work. Helen,
I don't have many
what have
left.
you got left?
One of mine is I prefer Charlie's version of a Victorian dude.
All right, Victorian dude who's never seen a Mets game watching TV.
Okay.
Seen. I say, are those little people in that box of phosphors? Well, crikey, I believe it is. This game's more beguiling than cricket.
Very good. I really enjoyed that.
Blimey, this is better than cricket.
Yeah. Stunning. I also, weirdly, it made me, the film made me kind of nostalgic for a time before all of the bullshit that happened in the late 2000s. And it gave me a tone of feeling like, oh well, maybe one day it'll be like the early 2000s again. I also really like Charlie's line. I just like Charlie, I think. Who's the merry Andrew now? You want to vex my sister.
Yes.
Such a good line. Very much enjoyed it. To be fair, I think Charlie is probably the one I would actually date of all of these people. Slight. No, but I mean personality-wise. Slight nut job, slightly troubling.
Oh no, was me agreeing with you.
Okay. I thought you were like, excuse me, Helen.
Yes, obviously he's such a dork and a weirdo, and that's my type.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that was it. That's all I've got. Sorry.
Okay, Jen, what have you got?
Okay, I've got quite a lot
What
left.
is left?
I love this film.
Jen paging through an A4 notebook right now.
I've got like a full eight. I'll try and trim. I'm going to start with, I really enjoy JJ, what's his name? Who's the actor's name? Mitchell Gretchen. No.
What?
The guy
boss.
from West Wing.
The boss.
Yeah.
Oh, what, Bradley Whitford?
Bradley Whitford, thank you. That's what I said.
Right, okay, sorry.
I thought you were talking about Paxton Whitehead.
There's lots of like little things to just really dig in just how much of an ass he is early on. Like he just offers her edamame.
Who does that? Who does that in her office?
And it's just at the end of their scene, at the end of their meeting, he's just like, edamame? It's cutscene, done. Great, love that. He's also in the background, I think, when they're filming something. He's kind of, it's just that it enters the scene and it's just on him and he's just going, I need to work out, I need a place I can work out, and then the scene just moves on and I'm just like, love that. Tickled me. He has his line about opera keeps me alive. Just the way he delivers that as well. I'm just like, opera keeps me. I'm like, yeah, I just loved all of his character was really funny with how much of an ass he was. A Meg Ryan line I really enjoyed was her at the dinner when she's fed up of Hugh Jackman like sassing her food. She's like, can you go away? I'm tired. Can you all just go away? She just keeps being like, can you go away?
Can you just leave?
I'm tired. Can you go away? Can you leave? Can you go away? And it's just the insistent like, can you go away? I really enjoyed that whole energy she was bringing. I loved the way Hugh Jackman ate stuff because he was posh.
Cutting up his tater tots nice and small.
He did. He ate everything like a posh person. I've got to say, I've got to just really double down on Hugh Jackman on a horse. This film came out in 2001. I was 11 years old. I was such a horse girl still at that point.
Yeah.
And seeing Hugh Jackman on a horse is just... This is just special. Yeah. I enjoyed Liev Schreiber seeing the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is just sitting there eating cereal from a box.
It was, what was it? It was
stole that from
Grape
Sara.
It was grape nuts.
That
It was grape
that was
nuts.
going to be my one and only remaining good thing.
Was it?
What a weird thing
What
that
are
he's just
grape
sat
nuts?
there eating grape nuts from
Okay,
a
it's
box.
like, it's kind of like really compacted, like hard cereal. I don't know what it's made of, but you know
Must be
what?
grapes in it
I
somewhere.
also used to eat grape nuts out of the box at university.
I've never heard of them before, and I saw them and I was like, what the fuck is a grape nut?
They
What
are-
the fuck is
they're-
a
they're
grape
just- they're
nut?
so-
I was aggravated by the name.
They're so crunchy, and they're actually really nice if you like put them in some yogurt. But as we all
Okay.
know, dairy, not my friend. So I just cut out the yogurt and started just eating grape nuts. And sometimes it does feel like your molars might explode, but you know, satisfying.
I was going to say, this is the sort of rich backstory we now have for the psychiatrist, is that he's also lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And that's why he's eating
That's good
grape nuts from the
storytelling.
box.
There you go.
See?
That's
It's
good
a rich world there. That actor spent 6 years working.
He was
to be a
also
psychiatrist for that
really
role.
busy with his job, so he didn't have time to eat them in the morning like you would, and he had to have it as a snack.
Go. It actually makes way more sense than him eating it with milk if you think about it carefully.
In the office, weird.
Hugh Jackman does some cute, like, I'm slightly nervous thinking about Meg Ryan
Aw.
faces when he's being teased about liking her, and he's just, his composure breaks a little bit, and I find it charming. I want him to look like that thinking about me.
We'll get there.
I really enjoyed.
Does David not do those faces when he thinks about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not there. When he thinks
Do you want
about
me
me.
to- do you want me to-
How would you know?
It's all right.
Do you want me-
Yeah, we'll each go and ask
Do you need,
David
like,
about
a-
you and film his
No,
reaction.
I'm just. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
know.
just have the
pic-
phone
I'm
in
planning.
an upper
I'm
pocket
planning.
and be like,
I'm planning to just stalk him and take pictures of him when I think he might be thinking of Ben.
Like the
how will you
picture.
know if he's...
I'm just assuming
What's
he's always
like
thinking
the
of Ben.
picture of Sarah Connor from the end of the Terminator? Like, I wondered what you were thinking about in that moment. It was you.
I just feel like if it's David, he'd be like economics.
Rugby.
Oh, sad face.
And the last one I'll say is I liked the little scene where Kate's just about to jump. Meg Ryan's just about to jump off the bridge. She says bye to her brother, and I genuinely went. Because her line is just, Charlie, I love you forever. And it's just like, that would kill me to be like, bye siblings.
Bye-bye now.
I'm jumping off a bridge now. And then it's
See you never.
like the cut
And
with
he
the
has a-
police officer, they're talking to him, they turn around, she's just gone. I
Yeah.
was like,
Can you imagine
"Aw."
that? Can you imagine someone you
Brutal.
actually really love just disappearing one day and be like, well,
I know, like that, off a bridge into the past.
And Breckenmeyer has a lovely smile, and that
it's like,
that's
it
really
worked.
nice.
I did it.
Yeah, he's happy for
Sarah?
her.
Oh, Jen,
Sarah, you still out?
Yeah, well,
Grape
Jen
nuts.
stole my grape nuts one, so
Sorry,
I guess I'll just have
should've preserved it.
I'll just have to do something from my cut that you can't use.
Yeah.
So, I thought the James Mangold cameo was actually very good.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he was very impassioned as a director whose art was being destroyed. So it's a shame that his art was destroyed.
Life imitates art.
It's all right. One day he'll make Ford v Ferrari. Oh God. Well, I'm sorry. My last one is so out of character for what the experience we've been having. But the thing about her being shown a picture that is supposedly from, the 19th century, and it having all of the 19th century, and it having all of these costume people in there, and it's undeniably a picture of the 19th century, and then she's just just I find that really
it's
creepy.
frightening.
That's like the ending of The Shining.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a really frightening moment.
You just see
Like,
them zooming in.
I genuinely think there's a different. You could create a different cut of this film where they gaslight her into losing her mind and jumping off a bridge, and she genuinely dies. And that photo would be a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because that tips her over the edge into being like, my God, it is real.
Yeah.
The final chilling moment is just Hugh Jackman and Breckenmeyer high-fiving, and then an early copy of Photoshop slips out of Breckenmeyer's
Oh my God. He is a scientist, technically, so...
Yeah.
He did it on the Palm Pilot. That's why he borrowed it.
The irony.
Actually, I should have made the Palm Pilot one of my good things, because I heard the word Palm Pilot and I was slammed so hard back into the early 2000s. Like, I haven't thought about Palm Pilots in decades.
Because you don't need a Palm Pilot when you have a computer in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember, and I remember very specifically the 2 games that my mother's Palm Pilot had on it, and now I'm desperate to play those games again.
Damn.
Shit.
It was a real face palm. Yeah.
Oh.
That sucks. All right, let's talk about the one. Let's go to the OG team.
Don't forget, you've got text.
OG team.
I have. Yes, thank you,
Yeah,
Becs. Yes, I do have texts. Indeed, from friends of me, but hopefully the podcast. Tell you what, friend of the podcasts, plural though, Luke Ciancio in bloody Patreon says, "Yay, dream podcast crossover."
Oh, so nice.
Haven't seen this. Just wanted to congratulate you all. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Luke.
So sweet.
Thank you,
Luke. You are a gentleman and a jellyfish, in my opinion.
Both, undeniable.
That is how that saying
a
goes.
gentleman as Hugh Jackman.
Moving over to Facebook, we have got Jennifer Soanes. Jenny?
I don't know what this joke is, but I've heard it a lot.
It's absolutely indecipherable now, even to me. Jenny says, Hugh had a busy 2001. I really like him in rom-coms, and Someone Like You was the same year. He and Ashley Judd had work competition love-hate energy. I think maybe Ashley or Sandy B would have been better in this. Maybe Kate Hudson. Meg was not in the same You've Got Mail groove anymore. Still, this is fun. And you get another leave notch on your OGT bedpost. He is giving similar energy to Tim Robbins and Howard the Duck. That's a By the end of the movie, is it revealed that Leopold invented the elevator? Beginning of the movie, Jenny. That was
Right off the bat.
Straight away.
Right
Straight
off the
away in
bat.
there. Second line, probably.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ellen Graham says butter. Butter is great. Is that an alternate line?
Yes,
Butter.
that's correct.
Butter is great.
Butter. Butter is great.
Fresh,
Butter is
creamy
great.
butter is even better.
Yeah.
Fresh creamery
Hard
butter
to
is great.
At BT Calloway didn't have anything to say, but he's changed his username to Goodman on the Streets, Salt in the Sheets. And I don't know what that
It means you're the freaky one,
Concerning.
Paul.
You a horny dog.
BT Calloway got you down pat.
means. But does it imply you don't want to be seen on the streets? You just want to. You
Correct.
want me to come in the back way.
Oh,
You don't want anyone to know I came.
oh my.
Oh, nice.
His erection's still standing. Sorry.
It's a miracle,
And
man.
you've been listening to OGT. Be sure to like and subscribe. No, finally, Kat. It's an unfortunate segue. Kat, my friend from Burt Beck, who I mentioned I was watching this too, has replied eventually. God, I haven't seen it in many years, but I remember loving the dancing. Like the ballroom dancing. And all of Hugh Jackman's shocked expressions. I love that it's directed by James Mangold. And I love that the title is just their two names. More rom-coms should do this. Oh, and I love Liv Schreiber. I remember wishing he was the lead. No shade to Hugh. Also being reminiscent of Meg Ryan's hair is the greatest compliment I've ever received in my life. She has Ryan-esque hair.
Incredible.
Wow.
Let's do the one better thing. The one better thing.
I've got one.
Go on.
What have you got?
So I went for something almost exactly the same, but more well known. Splash.
Splash.
Fish out of
Yes,
water
Ron
story.
Howard.
You were literally saying fish out of water, and I was like, yeah, there's a fish out of water.
See what you did there.
Yeah, there's a fish out of water.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's a good film. I honestly, personally, I kind of prefer this one. If I'm being honest, because Splash, it has that weird, creepy, like she's a child but she's an adult woman vibe, and I've never really liked that. I find that a bit threatening. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, objectively, most people think it's better, is what I would say.
Who plays? It's Tom Hanks, right? And it's Ron Howard directing. Who plays the
Some
mermaid?
hot woman. I don't know, man.
Is it
She's
bloody
real
Kill
good-looking.
Bill?
No, it's not Kill
Ellie
Bill.
Driver.
Do you want me to Google
It's not.
it?
It's not.
Or will that ruin the fun?
It's not the fucking. It's not David Carradine.
Let's find out real quick. It is Daryl Hannah.
Let's find out real quick. It is Kill Bill. It's bloody Ellie Driver from
yeah,
Kill Bill.
Daryl
Daryl Hannah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Uma Thurman.
Me too, and I was like, I feel like that can't be right.
She
Crazy
doesn't
casting.
feel like she fit in that role now.
Too intense.
Daryl
Who else has a one better thing?
I've got a one better thing.
Go on.
Do it.
I've gone for now. My one better thing doesn't include any time travel, but it's a kind of but it is a kind of comedic period romance where the women are very strong-willed, and I really love it. And it is The Abduction Club. Which sounds grim, but well, if you think about it too hard, it maybe is a little bit. But it's based off, so it's 18th century. It's based off a practice in Ireland where second sons who weren't going to inherit any money and so needed to marry a rich girl would spend ages courting a woman in a kind of whirlwind romance type situation, and then they would abduct her. Usually not much of an abduction. Usually she was quite pleased about it. And basically, if she agreed to marry him and then married him before the warning was out, there was nothing anyone could do about it. He had her money.
Wow.
Wow.
And so it is about these two guys, and they are in the abduction club, and it works one at a time, right? Someone gets pulled out of a hat, and it's like, it's your turn to go and find a rich woman and woo her and abduct her.
Yeah.
But they get ahead of themselves and abduct a pair of sisters because they're like, we can do this, and everything goes horribly, terribly wrong.
No!
But then
Movie premise.
the thing being, one of the sisters, played by Sophia Myles, the younger, kind of more impetuous one, wants to be abducted. She's like, I fucking hate this life. And so the older sister feels like she has to go along. But it's like two very charming leads who are kind of saddled with a woman that is suddenly like very outside of their experience or comfort zone.
Fun.
It's rom-com. It's very good. It's also one of those ones where I am a bit convinced that the male leads have more romantic tension together than with their female counterparts. But yeah,
absolutely
cracking
love that.
film. Good
Kraken
time.
film. Excellent. Mine is coincidentally the Kraken film Clash of the Titans. Jen and Sarah?
Yes, I would, for a film that involves romance and time travel, I would say About Time.
Oh, yes, About Time.
Have I stolen your thing again, Sarah?
Well, yes, I technically had two, but one of them doesn't make sense. About Time was the one that made sense.
Yeah. Was it Clash of the Titans?
I've only seen About Time once. It was quite a while ago, but I remember crying a lot.
It's quite nice.
Which is a good sign.
Nice.
It's cute.
There's issues with it, but it's quite.
I'm
There's
sure
issues
there
with
is,
it being
but-
whether it was her decision or not to actually be with him.
There are issues.
There's
with
issues
every
with Kate
that's
rom-com.
time traveling
issues
rom
with
rom-coms are always problematic in some way or other,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's fine.
I think all rom-coms are. I don't think it's possible
Yeah.
to depict love in a healthy way because love is inherently
That's
unhealthy.
true.
Jesus Christ, Paul.
I'm getting deep at this stage. 2 hours in,
hours.
I'm laying down the hard truths. Sarah, do you have one remaining?
So yeah, my real one was About Time because I think that's a lovely film, sort of based on a Ben Folds song.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Well, inspired, not based.
Sure.
Like, he heard the
Sure.
song, he was like, I'm going to make this film. My jokey one, when I was like, I'm struggling, time travel, Hugh Jackman. And it's a film that I personally hate, and I'm in the minority about it. Hey, if you like this, why not go watch The Fountain?
Oh, The Fountain.
Oh, yes.
But I
With,
tell you
Sarah's
what,
Thoughts on The
though,
Fountain.
what's her face with that hat? I like her hat in The Fountain.
Oh,
Rachel
Rachel
Weisz?
Weisz when she's got cancer.
She's got a lovely hat.
the cancer caps,
She's
you
got
mean?
a lovely hat.
The chemotherapy
Yes, it's a
hat.
nice
I think I specifically dissed that hat in my Ranking Rachel's segment of my interview with Sarah.
Look, I'm just saying I like the hat, okay? But also the outfit she wears when she's a Spanish queen.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's
Fucking
pretty
A.
tight. Hugh Jackman,
also-
too, I think.
Visually very nice film, though, but it is fucking unhinged.
And an excellent
Yeah. Well,
soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
Incredible.
Yes.
I listened to that one. I've not seen it, but I listen to that soundtrack regularly.
Mine is Wings of Desire by Wim Wenders. Watch it, you'll see why it connects. Anyway, that's the...
Fucking hell.
It's about someone, falling in love with a woman, but then that being a sort of, microcosm for a general love of humanity. Anyway.
Look, fuck you all, guys. Paul's tired, all right?
I'm so tired, guys. We've still got a Patreon to go. Let's... I'm going to end the episode. That was the one better thing.
Finally.
The one better thing. Thank you. Sarah, you tell us how people can find out about Roll Plus Heart.
Oh, this was a mistake because I am the least
Would you like me
succinct
to
at this
do
sort of
it?
thing. Thank you,
Absolutely
Becs.
tragic.
If you enjoyed hearing our insane chaos, you can catch us at Roll Plus Heart, our queer actual play anthology-style podcast where we play tabletop games and make them queer. You can find all of our details at our website, www.rollplusheart.co.uk.
Nailed it.
So
professionally
professional.
done.
Fuck me. I would have just been like,
Yeah.
it's
Now do it
alright,
angry.
just enjoy it. It's a thing.
Find us at rollplusheart.co.uk.
Now
Now
say
sexy.
it sexily.
Now do it sexy.
Find us at rollplusheart.co.uk.
Now do it like you're constipated.
That...
I
Wrap
don't
it
know
up,
what that's
Paul.
like. I only know shitting myself
Look,
because of dairy.
It's
Sorry.
fine.
Don't yuck
I'll
my
do-
yum, all right?
Because I'm cleaning butter.
I'll do my outro constipated. You can find out more about One Good Thing by checking out. The trick is I'm always constipated. You should check out One Good Thing at OGT Pod on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you can probably go. You can listen to more stuff like this. Jen and the Film Critic is a thing with me and Jen
Yeah, it
talking about
is.
movies. Quest Fantastic is a thing with me, Jen, and Sarah
Yeah, it is.
talking about fantasy movies. I don't know what that is. I don't listen.
We play a game.
Nice.
We play games. Yeah, I think that's all the combinations of podcasts I have with you people.
I'm in all your podcasts, Paul.
You're in all of
You
my podcasts.
filthy podcast slut.
I've done that.
Spread
She
myself
slipped into my
all over.
podcasts, and there was nothing else I could
Her
do.
erection still
I'm
stands.
Paul.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
Paul Rection. Everybody say I'm and then something vaguely humorous around your name.
I'm edamame.
That's
Love
not even
it.
close to your name.
I'm
I'm
Gendamame.
Becs in time. It's like back in time. Do you get it?
Love it.
I'm,
Next to the future.
I'm Sarah Paxton Whitehead.
I'm Helen Tree of the Tree Schenectady. The Schenectady of trees. The
Schenectady trees.
The trees
yes.
of Schenectady.
Yeah.
Schenectady, New York. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Remember,
Bye.
the one good thing about Kate and Leopold. Oh, it's just those fucking coats.
Just the coat.
Stunning.
Oh.
Can we stop now?
Oh,
Are we done?
Paul.
Yes.
Oh, butter.
Fresh creamery butter. How can I help?